Crookie, Jason Varitek. And
Crookie, welcome to the welcome.
Sean Figgins, because
Hall of Fame.
He can get the thing started against the guy who throws the ball in the strike zone. It'll be fun.
Here are 9 guys, 8 because you both picked the same guy, but we'll see how it plays out. You got a triple header, folks, on ESPN, and again, stay tuned to SportsCenter as well for in-depth coverage. For all the guys who helped make this show possible, I'm Carl Ravitch. Enjoy the game from Atlanta.
It's October, and the Braves welcome us to Dixie once again. Atlanta back in the playoffs for a 14th year in a row, but the Astros have a tradition of their own to continue, beating the Braves in the division series. It's Game 1 from Turner Field, brought to you in high definition.
The following is a special presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Program.
Sky Card program. Tonight's
Best ninth-inning team in all of baseball.
The Pretenders are gone. Left 8 teams, each feeling they've got a shot to win it all.
30 seconds. Fielder.
Stand by, guys. Here we go.
This is the moment many of these players have been dreaming about since they first started playing the
Stand by
game.
2.
Houston, what with pitching? Is it going to be enough in the postseason?
The last 3 World Series champs, all 3 walk-ons.
Experienced and explosive. The arms are the extra advantage that might give Houston the advantage in the division series and beyond, as they enter the playoffs with the same wild card momentum that led to the last 3 world championships.
The fans are on their feet, finally getting a chance to watch their team play in the playoffs.
Bobby Cox and his boys are back again.
Atlanta knows, especially for them, the postseason is where real history is made.
Veteran leadership, young bats, and a savvy bench. That's the chemistry that led the Braves to their 14th straight division title. No strangers to the postseason. The Braves know you live and die with pitching. Do they match up in this best of 5?
They've overcome injuries and slumps, yet here they are. But they know their greatest challenge still lies ahead. Play ball.
ESPN's coverage of the National League Division Series is presented by Budweiser. And today, from the home of the 14-time division champion Braves, it's Game 1 of this best-of-5 division series. The 2-time wild-card champion Houston Astros won this matchup a year ago, taking it to the limit, and Atlanta and Houston are set for a rematch in 2005. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Turner Field. Dave O'Brien, along with my partners, Eric Karros and Steve Phillips. Great to have you with us. And Steve, pitching is certainly the watchword for this series. The Astros seem to have more of it than any other team in the playoffs. Last year when they knocked off Atlanta, though, they did not have Andy Pettitte in the rotation. He's on the hill today for the Astros.
Well, he is exactly the guy that the Astros want on the hill as well. He has shown himself to be a big-time performer in the postseason. 13 career wins, ranking himself second in postseason all time. Also, he's the guy with the hot hand, 11-2 with a 1.69 earned run average the second half of the season. His performance helped propel the Astros to the wild card. He needs to set the tone in game 1 of this 5-game series, get them off to a good start, and hopefully get them around to the next round.
Well, Eric Karros, the Astros have Pettitte, they've got Clemens, they've got Oswalt, they've got the great Brad Lidge out of the bullpen, but they don't score a whole lot of runs for those guys. They really struggle there. The Braves don't have the same concerns in the heart of their lineup because they have Andrew Jones, a spectacular season, the most home runs in the majors with 51.
Well, Andrew Jones has led this offense this year. The Atlanta Braves, many guys on the disabled list. Andrew Jones has been there throughout the season. Made a lot of adjustments in spring training, widened his stance, not a lot of movement with his hands, keeping his head still. The result, 51 home runs, 128 RBIs, and also a major league leading 22 game-winning RBIs. Bobby Cox would like to see 3 more game winners this series.
So for the second year in a row, Atlanta and Houston square off. The first game of the division series coming up next. Pitching is going to be a huge part of the story. And Tim Hudson is on the hill for Atlanta today. Not postseason ace John Smoltz. And our 4th man on the show, Tim Kirkshin, will explain that decision when we come back to Atlanta for Game 1.
I promise.
I promise.
I promise. The all-new Chevy Impala gets an estimated 31 highway miles per gallon.
Malibu LS with 32.
Cobalt LS, 34.
And a Aveo with 35.
I promise that Chevy Tahoe has best-in-class fuel economy.
We even took a Silverado and created the first full-size hybrid pickup truck.
I promise fuel economy is just as important to Chevy as it is to you.
That's a Chevy Total Value Promise.
design that goes global with the world's most advanced network, Verizon Broadband.
Breakups are the best. You don't want to see me anymore? That's cool. Let me get my guitar and my laptop. I'll write about it. I'll record it, mix it, make a CD. I won't be all depressed at home. I'll be in a home studio, which is good, because I don't want to go out and meet someone new. That'd blow the whole album.
Start something loud. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
Okay, you never told me.
What was that?
Crunchy!
Guys, I got... Want something crunchy?
Guys?
Taco Bell is open late. Feed your need for all the crunchy, grilled, marinated, spicy, and melty taste you can only get at Taco Bell. Want to spice up the night? Think outside the bun. Open till midnight or later.
More ASC certified master technicians, the top mechanics in the country, use Valvoline more than any other oil in their own cars.
Kenny, come to bed.
Nicorette Fresh Mint is different. It's the first and only stop-smoking gum coated with a cool burst of mint flavor. In fact, consumers prefer the taste 2-to-1 over any stop-smoking gum. It tastes great and fights cravings fast. Nicorette Fresh Mint. Start chewing, start quitting.
No, it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow. Yeah. Ooh, that's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series is presented by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers. And in part by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
From Atlanta, Game 1 of the National League Division Series. A pleasure to have you along with us this afternoon, which has become kind of a windy and cloudy day with the wind blowing in at Turner Field. Phil Garner's team into the playoffs for the second year in a row. Here's a look at the Houston starting lineup. Craig Biggio at 39 set a new career high in home runs.
Well, Willie Taveras batting second. Speed's part of the game. 70 infield base hits, 29 bunt base hits.
Lance Berkman third, recovered from a bad knee injury to hit 24 homers. Morgan Ensberg led this low-scoring offense with 101 runs batted in. Lane in right hit 26 home runs. Behind him, Orlando Palmeiro. He gets the start in left. Adam Everett at short, part of a very sure-handed defensive club for Houston.
Well, and then Brad Ausmus hitting in that 8-hole right ahead of the pitcher, Phil Garner's hottest hitter the last month.
And Andy Pettitte out of the 9 slot, not much of a threat to be the first guy to go deep today. Up against the right-hander Tim Hudson, he is 14-9, an ERA of 3.52, and his track record against the Astros not terribly long, but it does sparkle. That's one reason he's in there. But Tim Kirkshin, a lot of folks would be tuning in today saying, "Where's John Smoltz? How come he's not pitching?"
Well, his left shoulder was a little bit sore the last 2 weeks of the season, so Bobby Cox put Tim Hudson in there because he needed his healthiest pitcher in case they needed him twice in the series. Now, Smoltz threw yesterday and threw extremely well, and now he's ready to pitch in Game 2 against Roger Clemens. The last time Smoltz started a postseason game was the 1999 World Series, and his mound opponent was Roger Clemens.
Tim, thank you very much. He'll be patrolling the sidelines today. Another look at Hudson, the 30-year-old from Columbus, Georgia, getting the start in Game 1.
Well, you see his numbers right there. 14-9. He's had a fantastic season. He's a ground ball pitcher. 54% of the outs have come from the ground ball off of that split finger fastball. He holds runners well. That's going to be important against an Astros team that tries to manufacture runs, and he fields his position, especially if they lay a bunt down.
All right, now defensively backing him up is Jordan in left field. Brian Jordan, a bit of a surprise start. Andrew Jones, the 7-time Gold Glover, in center field. Frank Core with an absolute cannon in right.
Well, besides providing offense for this Atlanta Brave ball club, Frank Core, second in the National League in assists, playing only half the season behind Cliff Floyd. A cannon of an arm, very much like Vladimir Guerrero of the Angels in Anaheim.
Well, he's like Guerrero in more ways than one because he'll swing at practically anything as well. But you see that hose from right field. Bobby Cox raving about his defensive team, Steve, before the game. He said it just might be the best of his 14 division titles.
Well, the best fielding percentage in the National League, and one of the keys right now with great outfield defense, but in the infield as well. Rafael Furcal only 15 errors this year after committing 55 errors combined between 2003 2004. They're talking about him for a possible Gold Glove.
So the question is for Phil Gardner, how does his team score? A volunteer out of the University of Tennessee led the Astros to a dramatic run to the Wild Card Championship last season as interim manager. Joining the club after the All-Star break, they gave him the job full-time when the season ended, and he turned the trick again, winning the Wild Card in 2005. Craig Biggio to start things off, the 39-year-old veteran, 264 with 26 home runs during the regular season, and here we go. The first pitch in for a strike, and we are underway in Atlanta. Hudson with a terrific splitter. That's his money ball. Low 90s fastball, a slider, excellent changeup, and allows very few home runs. He will keep it in the yard. Line shot up the middle and a clean base hit for Biggio. And a good start for Houston. Last season, the Astros skewered the Braves pitching staff in the division series, scoring 36 runs in the first round win. Here's a look at the umpiring crew, and of course we go with the two extras down the left and right field line. And the crew chief is the man behind the plate, Joe Brinkman, veteran umpire of 33 years, and this is his 6th division series.
Well, Brinkman known many years ago with the Roger Clemens incident in the AL championship. They had a little run-in, ended up throwing Roger out of the ball game, but Joe Brinkman, one of the best umpires in the game.
He is, and in this series, he also is the guy called Game 5 last year in this matchup in the division series as well.
Which Atlanta wound up winning in a runaway. Here's Willie Tavares, the center fielder. 291 during the season with 3 home runs. And he fouls one off to the right, not a play. And this gives us a battle of 2 of the top candidates for National League Rookie of the Year. Tavares hasn't received the national press that Jeff Francoeur, the Braves, has received. But with Houston losing Carlos Beltran and Jeff Kent to free agency and Jeff Bagwell to injury most of the season, the Astros required contributions like this from an unknown, and he delivered. Blazing speed. He stole 34 bases during the season. The 0-1 pitch. He bunts toward third. Here comes Chipper Jones with a bare hand and got him. Up and into second moves Craig Biggio. It was interesting during the regular season, Steve, that the official scorers back at Minute Maid in Houston had a hard time determining whether he was bunting for a hit or a sacrifice.
Well, he has such great speed. He can act like it's a sacrifice and still beat it out. Chipper Jones anticipating a bunt. He gets it. 7 sacrifice bunts during the course of the season for Tavares. But this is small ball. This is what the Astros have to do to try to manufacture runs. They don't have the big thumpers like an Andrew Jones and a Chipper Jones. They have to utilize the entire lineup to try to score.
Well, and that's one of the advantages, too, of bunting with a guy on first. If you don't get the base hit, it goes down as a sacrifice. Brett Butler, one of the best bunters ever in the game, used to do that a number of times when he played with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
The Astros looking for that quick score. And here's Berkman. Lance Berkman, 293, 24 homers, 82 runs batted in. Now, back in May, the Astros were going nowhere fast. They dropped 15 games below 500 at one point, but wound up winning the wild card in another dramatic finish for the 2nd year in a row, clinching that wild card on the last day of the regular season. Inside, that one missed on Berkman. 2-0.
One of the big reasons for the turnaround was Lance Berkman, who had injured his knee in an off-season touch football injury, had worked his way back to the lineup, and they were struggling to score runs, and his big bat coming back really helped turn things around.
Berkman tore that ACL in his right knee while playing flag football in November. And it took him until after the first month of the regular season to finally get back in there. His absence that first month was a big factor in the Astros' awful start. But you look at that road record since May 24th when they really started to get it cooking. 34-24 after starting the year. 2-21 on the road. Up high for ball 4, and Berkman is on. So first and second, and only one out. Bobby Cox, his team won 90 games to clinch their 14th consecutive division title. But Eric, he was the kindergarten cop this year. He played 18 rookies, 30% of Bobby's at-bats this season for his team came from first-year players. That's just extraordinary.
Well, it is extraordinary, but they didn't play like rookies, and that's one of the advantages that Bobby Cox had. The farm system has been fertile over the last few years. They develop players to play at the big league level, not to gain experience at the big league level. That's a difference of why this Atlanta Brave organization was successful this year.
Issues for Hudson right away. Here's the dangerous Ensberg, and he lines it into left center field. That'll drop down for a base hit. Here comes Biggio rounding third. He'll be in to score easily, and it's 1-0 Houston. And right away it has a feel of last year's division series when the Astros jumped out to an early lead and cruised in game 1 for a 9-3 victory.
Well, it really does. Good piece of hitting by Ensberg, who really was a big RBI man for this team this year. Got a fastball up in the zone, kept his hands inside the ball, drove it into center field. Good piece of hitting. And I tell you, Tim Hudson looked like he pitched around Berkman a little bit with first base open last time. It looks like they've made a decision. They're not going to let Berkman be the guy to beat them. Ensberg steps up and delivers.
Ensberg leading Houston in home runs and RBIs during the regular season. So Hudson goes after the number 5 man now, Jason Lane, with 2 on. He takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Well, and Tim Hudson, when you get Tim Hudson on the ropes, you better exploit him, because if you don't have a big inning when the opportunities present themselves, he can put up zeros after zero, and before you know it, you just realized you passed up when you could have broken the game wide open. I mean, Tim Hudson gave up more hits in innings pitched this year.
Now, the Astros already with 2 hits, a walk, and a run in the first inning. High chopped to third, Chipper. Over to second one. Giles turns it on to Franco for the double play. There's the ground ball Hudson was looking for throughout the first inning, and he finally got it for a 5-4-3 twin killing. But the Astros strike first in Atlanta.
The Ford Store, Morgan Hill, your truck destination, where every vehicle is clearly marked with our everyday low discounted price. No hassle, no haggle. Do the math and save big on F-150, F-250, and F-350. Explorer, Expedition, Focus, and Mustang. With over 530 vehicles to choose from, including 180 F-Series and 120 SUVs. Get huge factory rebates and thousands of dollars in discounts clearly marked on every vehicle. South Bay, the Ford Store, Morgan Hill, 101 at Dunn Avenue. East Bay, the Ford Store, San Leandro, Marina Boulevard off 880.
Let the story be told. Ruin your reputation a whole lot faster. Sign up for Comcast high-speed internet today and get this amazing offer. At ridiculously quick speeds, it's way faster than DSL and dial-up. Sign up today and we'll also include a free self-installation kit. Just call 1-800-COMCAST. Comcast high-speed internet with video mail. It's Comcast.
Tonight, the Major League Baseball Division Series continues. At 7, Ortiz and the Red Sox take on Paul Konerko and the White Sox. Then at 10, A-Rod and the Yankees face Vlad Guerrero and the Angels. On ESPN2 at 7:30, 2 explosive offenses go head-to-head as Miami of Ohio takes on Northern Illinois. It's all on tonight. For breaking news and scores, turn to ESPN News.
Back in Atlanta, plenty of empty seats here. That's become a first-round tradition for the Braves, and the Astros have a quick 1-0 lead. Now the lineup for the Braves. It'll be Rafael Furcal at short, hit .284 during the regular season.
Second baseman Marcus Giles batting second. One of the more patient hitters. Look for him to drive the ball to right field behind Furcal.
Chipper Jones at third and batting third. He's hit Pettit very well in his career. Andrew Jones, 51 home runs, but comes in on a 6-for-53 slump. Julio Franco, the ageless one, at first base.
And Jeff Francoeur in right field, the only starter in Atlanta's lineup with a .300 average against left-handed pitching.
Brian Jordan gets the rather surprising start for Bobby Cox in left field. Johnny Estrada does the catching. Hit just 4 home runs during the regular season. Lots of injury trouble. And Tim Hudson, the pitcher, swings it pretty good. All up against the left-hander, Andy Pettit.
Well, Andy Pettit has been dominant since July 1st. 13-2 with a 1.69 ERA. And he held opponents to a .230 average. Fastball, slider, cutter, throws a 2-seamer. For him to be effective, he has to get that cutter over.
Well, Furcal has never had a hit against him. He is 0 for 6, but Biggio had never had a hit against Hudson, and he ripped a single to start this afternoon. A little topper, but Pettit at 6'5" handles that one easily and throws him out. One quick out in the first.
Well, and with Andy Pettitte, when you approach him, you know you're going to get the two-seam fastball that runs away from right-handed hitters. He also will come inside with the four-seam fastball. His out pitch, though, is the cutter, and that's what you have to look for. If you are swinging at the cutter and helping Andy Pettitte, it's going to be a long day for you offensively.
I think the other thing, he does control the running game. And the Atlanta Braves, with the speed with Furcal and some guys at the top of the lineup, Andy Pettitte can shut down a running game, which could be critical today.
Here's Marcus Giles, the second baseman, 291, 15 homers, also scored 104 runs during the season. And on the year, absolutely carved up the Astros. The Braves only faced them 6 times, but he hit 458 off them. Lifts a high fly ball to left field. No sun to deal with today as Berkman comes in. In fact, the lights are now on here in Atlanta for a game that started just after 4 o'clock, and a recap of the season series, which Atlanta really dominated, although a lot of the games were early when the Astros were cold. You can see the Braves winning 5 out of 6, and that included a 4-game sweep by the Braves.
Well, and you've really got to discount that, because it was when the Astros were playing about as poorly as any ball club. Nobody would have imagined that they would be in the playoffs if you saw them in May. They have changed things. This is a different team. Andy Pettitte, one of the hottest pitchers in the game.
Chipper Jones batting right-handed to start, hitting .296, 21 homers with 72 runs batted in during the season. He put together 8 straight 100 RBI campaigns between '96 and 2003. He goes deep the other way. Lane going back, turning around, it is gone, and this game is all tied up. Chipper Jones to right off of Andy Pettitte. He came in hitting .360 lifetime off the lefty, and he ties it up in the first inning.
Well, Chipper Jones looking for that two-seamer, and Andy Pettitte throws a two-seamer. It's just not down in the zone. A two-seamer will run away from a right-handed hitter. If you try to pull that, you top it to the shortstop. Here, it's up in the zone. Chipper Jones does what a good hitter will do, takes it to right field, doesn't try to pull it, and he's got enough power to hit it out of any part of this ballpark.
And that's with the wind really gusting in and blowing either in or over to left. So a searing line drive by Chipper Jones to tie it at 1. That brings up Andrew Jones. And Atlanta has to find a way to get Andrew going. Slumping badly coming into the playoffs, Steve. 6 for 53.
Well, he is really struggling. He's a streaky hitter. He's getting around the ball. He's not keeping his hands inside. Look for them to try to bust him in.
Line shot to left field, and that's foul just off the chalk line. With the extra umpire down there, Eric Cooper right on top of it. But Chipper made sure no one had to make a call as he knocked it over the fence.
Well, and I think with Chipper Jones hitting a home run, that takes some of the pressure off of Andrew Jones. And the other players in that Atlanta lineup are going to have to do their part. And if they do their part, then Andrew can just settle in and not feel like he has to carry this ball club.
The 1-1 pitch. Lifted in the air to short right. Racing in lane has time to get there. And makes the catch for out number 3. But Chipper Jones draws the Braves even. He takes the veteran Andy Pettitte out to right field, and we're 1-1 after 1.
2 outs in the inning, and there's strike 2 on the bomber. What an epic battle we're witnessing. He digs back in. No, wait. What's he doing? The bomber is calling his shot.
I'm all over that.
He's pointing beyond the outfield fence.
Yeah, buddy.
Are we witnessing history? And there it goes!
Bud Light. Great taste. Great times.
What drives a man to such greatness?
Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. Ooh, and a hot dog.
What did you do?
I had to fire the guy. You know what just hit me? We should go to Outback for their new Karen Citrus Chicken. Marinated, seasoned, charred, grilled, and a citrus glaze.
Mind if I join you? Try something bold. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Red 21! Red! Prime rib! Seasoned, seared, slow roasted at Outback!
Try something bold. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
I'm open!
Is your daily face routine irritating the man in the mirror? Introducing Nivea for Men's Sensitive Lotion for a calm and comfortable face. New Sensitive Lotion and Face Wash, only from Nivea for Men.
you're not the only one who depends on your tires. That's why there's the new Goodyear Wrangler with Silent Armor technology. It's engineered with a layer made with Kevlar for toughness and a quieter ride. Get the truck tire you can count on. The new Goodyear Wrangler with Silent Armor technology, so you can be there on the wings of Goodyear.
Hill Hold Assist. Just one of 120 not-so-standard features available on the all-new German-engineered Passat.
For all to talk about the MVP candidacy of Andrew Jones this season, don't forget about old reliable Chipper Jones. And Steve, before the game, Bobby Cox in his office said, that's the guy we need to have swing the bat right now.
Well, that's right. I mean, where Andrew Jones stepped up this year, he did it when Chipper wasn't healthy. And I think that Chipper really is the leader of this team. Last year, when they were struggling, they moved him from left field into third base, and that's when everybody picked up. He's been at third base when he's been healthy this year. He's the guy everybody looks to. It's not a surprise that when they fall behind, he's the guy that responded in the first inning. That was a big run for the Braves.
Now, they responded in the second half. Here's Orlando Palmeiro leading off the second inning against Tim Hudson. Of course, until last season, Atlanta had dominated Houston in postseason play. The Braves swept them in the '97 Division Series, took them in 4 in the '99 Division Series, and swept them again in 2001. But last October was different. With Garner at the helm, even without an ailing Andy Pettitte, Houston won the first-round series 3-2. It began with Carlos Beltran and company blistering Atlanta in Game 1. And the Astros would eventually win the series in 5 games. It took Game 5 here in what was previously a death zone in Atlanta, whipping the Braves 12-3 to advance to what was a terrific league championship against St. Louis. Well, 2-1 aside, 3-1 now on Palmeiro.
You know, you're talking about the difference between those Astro ball clubs that faltered against the Braves up until last year, and I think the big difference, the pitching. I mean, they couldn't run out of Clemens and an Oswalt, you know, back in the late 90s. I mean, they didn't have that type of pitching, and that was the difference last year, and that could be the difference this year.
Well, Hudson obviously a little bit off at the outset. He has just walked his second man, and the leadoff hitter at that here in the second inning in Orlando Palmeiro.
Well, Orlando Palmeiro in the lineup today is a little bit of a surprise. Mike Lamb usually has played some first, Berkman in the outfield, but Palmeiro 29 at-bats against Hudson in his career. He has seen him the most of any Astros player. Phil Garner says, I want him in the lineup. He looked like he saw the ball very well that at-bat.
Palmeiro back in. You go back to June 1st, and the Houston Astros were a dismal 19-32. At that time, and the Houston Chronicle was running a cartoon of a tombstone above a story of their first 2 months. It looked like they were preparing for a peaceful rest for the remainder of the season. Waved at and missed. Good off-speed pitch there by Hudson, and a count on Everett is 0-1.
You know, at that time we were all talking about, should they trade Roger Clemens? Are they going to dismantle this team? What are they going to do? Was there some behind-the-scenes deal between Drake McLean, the owner, and Clemens, that if they fell out, they trade him? Was the Yankees the only place? All that talk, and they kept saying, you know what, the season is a marathon. We're going to battle our way back. And sure enough, they did it again.
Swinging a drive, shot to left, deep. Jordan back on the track, leaps at the wall, and he made the catch. A fantastic play. Palmeiro back to first base. What a grab by the veteran. The old guy can still do it. Brian Jordan in left, rising up against the fence to steal a hit from Everett.
Well, you know what was interesting is in our pregame with Bobby Cox, the question was asked, what about defense from Brian Jordan? Will he be able to move around? Bobby Cox said absolutely, he'll be fine. Made a great play right there, and this is a guy that, I mean, he is just broke down, but finds a way to get out there and perform in clutch situations.
Well, the former football player looked like a defensive back, tracking the ball going back. Made a great catch in the end zone to pull it away.
He's been bothered by inflammation in his left knee all season long, missing big chunks of the season. But he was on the spot there as Palmeiro gets back. Brad Ausmus getting in, hitting .258, 3 homers, 47 runs batted in during the season. And probably is the hottest bat going right now for Phil Garner.
Well, he is, and that's what Phil mentioned to us. And anytime your hottest hitter can be hitting 8, that's a boost to your offense. Drives in runs, has clutch at-bats, and gets the pitcher to the plate, which is very important for an 8 hitter.
Well, and he works so well with the pitching staff. Garner was raving about him, Steve, before the game. He's caught over 900 games for the Astros. That's a franchise record.
Well, he's the leader of this team. Phil Garner gives him the scouting reports and says, go get him, big guy. Get the plan in place for our pitchers, and he's done a tremendous job. He's handled some pretty good pitchers for the Houston Astros.
The 1-0 to Ausmus. High chop for Callers there. Feeds Giles. That's one. The turn in time for the double play. That's the second one that the Astros had hit into in the first 2 innings. But Jordan made the spectacular catch, rising high against the fence to steal an extra base hit from Everett.
Tonight, the postseason tripleheader continues. Konerko and company got it done in Game 1. Boston looks to bounce back in Game 2 at 7. Then, Yankees, Angels, Game 2 at 10. The Major League Baseball Division Series continues tonight at 7 on ESPN.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out. Game 1 of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the breakfast of champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. Welcome to a new generation of Wrangler.
New fits, new comfort, new styles. Wrangler Jeans Company, a new generation of Wrangler. New fits, new comfort, new styles.
Why am I in the Army Reserve? It's not just for the experience or the training I can use as a soldier and as a civilian. It's for them, for my country, and it's all worth fighting for.
Visit GoArmyReserve.com.
What the world needs now is sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just.
Your call will be answered in 30 minutes.
My car ready yet?
Whatever happened to customer service? At DHL, it's alive and well.
I'm on it.
Call us and see how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
Bottom 2 here in Atlanta. Dave O'Brien, Eric Karros, Steve Phillips, and Tim Kirkshin with you from Turner Field. Houston 1, Atlanta 1. And Julio Franco gets in to face Andy Pettitte, hitting .275 with 9 home runs during the season. And he's hit Pettitte quite well in his career, .471. It's impossible to broadcast a Braves playoff game and not mention Julio Franco is 47 years old and still playing Major League Baseball at a high level.
It's unbelievable. I mean, really, the credit goes to Bobby Cox. He's got the oldest player and a lot of the youngest players in baseball. 18 rookies on this team for Bobby Cox managing, and then the oldest player in Major League Baseball in Julio Franco.
But the novelty of him being the oldest, I mean, the guy can still play. He can flat out play. And I don't know, when you were a GM, Steve, I mean, how important was age when you factored into, am I going to sign this guy or not sign this guy?
Now, for pitchers, you're worried a little bit about it, but Julio Franco's in the best condition of anybody on the field today.
Well, his career started way back in 1978 in Butte, Montana, at the age of 17 in the Phillies organization. Here's the home run against Andy Pettitte earlier. Line shot to right field earlier this season, and Andy Pettitte hasn't given up many of those. A .239 ERA, second best in the National League. Slice foul by Franco. Jeff Francoeur will follow him, and then Brian Jordan, who just made a sensational catch up against the left field fence.
You know what's amazing when we're talking about how great the numbers are that this Houston Astros pitching staff is putting up? They play in an offensive ballpark, one of the best places to hit in all of baseball, yet you're talking about 3 guys that are putting up phenomenal numbers in Pettitte, Oswalt, and Clemens.
Inside on Franco.
Pettit and Clemens 1 and 2 in the Clemens 1, Pettit 2 in the ERA numbers this year. I mean, just absolutely dominating, and Oswalt not far behind. I think 8th overall. Absolutely dominating performance.
Check swing, and it's inside. They count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Franco, and of course that's how they're going to go in this series. Game 1 Pettit, then Clemens, and then Oswalt. Although that formula during the regular season, oddly enough, Steve, has not been what you might think.
Really is amazing. 17 times this year, Clemens, Oswalt, and Pettit have started consecutive games. And the breakdown would surprise you about the success rate of those days.
2-2 swung on and missed, and he struck him out. Franco fans. 1 man gone here in the 2nd inning. Let's go down to Tim Kirchin.
You know, Andy Pettit is one of the great second-half pitchers of all time. His last 20 starts, he's 14-2. His last 9 starts, he's 7-0. And in his career, he's 90-37 after the All-Star break. That is the greatest winning percentage of any pitcher in the history of the game with that many decisions after the All-Star break.
John Smoltz said we don't want to see him peering over the glove like that, but he's doing it, of course. That's his style. Popped up by Frank Core. No shock as he went after the very first pitch. The rookie is seldom in the batter's box very long, and that's 2 fast outs.
He is. You know, we were talking about the lineup of Pettit, Clemens, and Oswalt. 17 times they pitched consecutive games, and you would think, hey, that would give you a chance to put some streaks together. In those 17 times, they swept the opponent 3 times. They got swept 3 times. They won 2 of 3 in the series 6 times, but they lost 2 of 3 5 times. 26 and 25 in those games when they actually have pitched in consecutive games. Not as dominating as you would expect.
Brian Jordan got a big hand as he got into the batter's box. As you get a look at the big 3, Phil Garner says if we had to go with a 4th starter, we'd have to go Cy Young.
Yeah.
After these 3 guys.
And he would be the number 4 starter on this staff.
Oswalt with 20 wins, of course. Jordan 247, 3 home runs in the season. Cracks that one towards short. Cut up nicely by Ensberg. Throws low and dug out by Berkman. Fine play by both of the corner men. And they go 1-2-3. Pettit with some handshakes coming. We're tied.
You could do in real life. Now you can do at vhix.com. Just click auto on comcast.net.
I just got this file today. We need more time.
You've had this case for over 3.5 years.
And I'm about to lose my home.
She should call 1-800-LAW-CASH. Do you have a lawsuit? Do you need money? 1-800-LAW-CASH will get you money right now. Don't wait for your case to settle. Call 1-800-LAW-CASH. If you lose your case, you owe LAW-CASH nothing. You or your attorney should call 1-800-LAW-CASH today. We're waiting for your call.
Being a switch hitter, that's a rare commodity in this day and age. Growing up, I was a big Dodger fan. I would go out and imitate the lineup. Kenny Landreau came up, I had to hit left-handed. When Steve Garvey came up, I hit right-handed. And that's where I learned. I take great pride that the other team doesn't want to see me to the plate. They know that I'm going to be a tough out. I live for this.
October, 8 teams, 1 champion. Watch the World Series. Don't miss it.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm waiting.
Come on, let's go.
Where?
Over there. What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry, you know what a skid plate is for? Off-road stabilizer bars? A locking rear differential? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jerry!
Chevy Silverado, an American Revolution. ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser, brought to you by Chevy. Chevy and baseball, they just go together. An American Revolution. And Wheaties, the breakfast of champions.
From Atlanta, Georgia, we're all tied up 1-1 in Game 1 of the National League Division Series presented by Budweiser. Eric Karros, Steve Phillips, Dave O'Brien, Tim Kirchin alongside. As the Braves take on the Astros in the first round. The Astros winning the series 3-2, and they hooked up last year, but Andy Pettitte was not on the hill. He was out with his elbow problems, did not pitch in that series, nor in the playoffs. But he is in there today, a 0.81 average during the season, so not much of a threat there, but he'll be followed by Biggio and then Tavares here in the 3rd inning. And he waves through it for a strike, quickly behind 0-2.
You know, David, we look back to last inning. Tim Hudson induced Brad Ausmus to hit into the double play. That was big because what it forced for the Astros is Andy Pettitte to lead off this inning. And again, much better than having Pettitte get a chance to hit and starting this inning with Craig Biggio batting first.
Pettitte will take a seat, and that's the first strikeout recorded by Hudson today. More Division Series action presented by Budweiser comes your way on ESPN. A pair of Game 2s. The Red Sox trying to bounce back from that thrashing at the hands of the White Sox. The starters are Wells and Burley. That could be over in 2 hours and 10 minutes. And then the Yankees and the Angels, with the Yankees up 1-0 at 10 o'clock tonight. Wells 15-7. The quick working Burley has been terrific all season, but Wells no slouch in that department. He gets rid of it in a hurry. So that'll be a quick moving game as Biggio gets in and takes a strike.
That's a big game for the Red Sox tonight with David Wells out there, because the Red Sox pitching does not match up extremely well compared to the White Sox. The Red Sox need to win this game.
Biggio with a base hit his first time, fouls that one away. But Wells, Eric, without question, is a big game pitcher.
Well, he is a big game pitcher, and you know, I would say that the White Sox need to win this ball game, because if they go back to Boston 1-1, there might not be another game in Chicago, especially with the way the Red Sox play at home. So again, down 1-0 or up 1-0, this is still a must-win for the White Sox.
That one gapped into left center field. On the move, Andrew Jones trying to track it down. Biggio heading into second, wants a double. Here's the throw, the dive, the tag did not get him. Not in time. And Biggio headlong into second is 2 for 2 on the day, throwing around that almost 40-year-old body like he's 19 years old.
Well, Biggio's setting the tone for this Astro ball club, especially at the leadoff position. And what he has done is he's hit for power this year, hit extra base hits. You know, here he hits a ball in the gap. Andrew Jones showing why he will be or could be the MVP because of his defensive prowess. Makes a great throw, but Biggio never hesitating from the get-go, just gets his hand ahead of the tag from Marcus Giles.
So a single, a double, and a run scored already for Biggio, who hit 400 against the Braves last October in the division series. And here's Tavares, who dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the first inning.
You know, we talked in the first inning how it was good that Biggio got on the kind of start that the Astros lineup, but for Biggio, it's important as well. A 198 career postseason hitter. He has struggled, and so for him personally to get it going again, I think is huge for this Astros team.
Fouled away by Tavares. Well, amidst the Astros wild card clinching celebration Sunday was another reason for the veteran Biggio to sip some champagne. Houston picked up his option for next season, which will be his 19th in the majors, all with Houston.
Well, and he definitely earned it. I mean, showing no signs of aging, having a career high in home runs this year. And the Astros are getting a bargain.
Awfully close play there at second. We're going to give you another look at the bang tag and slide by Biggio. Here's a slow down advantage.
Now here's the throw from Andrew Jones, and Marcus Giles takes the throw. He tags the top of the base. He's standing on the outfield side of second base, and when he brought his hand down, it came to the top of the base instead of in front of it where Biggio was sliding in. Good baseball play all around. Andrew Jones and Biggio. Giles didn't quite get the tag down.
Hudson with a 2-1. Missed up high. 3 balls and a strike. Lance Berkman up next.
Well, and this is the guy you want to get, Tavares, but Tavares hits a lot of balls in the infield. With a guy on second, that's not going to drive anybody in. Speaking to hitting coach Gary Gaetti before the game, he said he would like to see Tavares be able to drive the ball a bit more for situations like this.
Loops it foul, 3-2.
Well, the positioning is always interesting to watch with the Atlanta Braves. They do some of the best advanced scouting in baseball. They have Bobby Wine and other guys out there. They really scout, and then the key to it is that their pitchers pitch to the defense. They set up in a way you see they're very shallow in the outfield. Francoeur shallow in right, Jordan a little bit deeper in left. Then you'll see Tim Hudson deliver his pitches into the teeth of the defense. It's one of the real strengths of the Atlanta Braves.
The payoff pitch to the rookie. He walked him. That's the third base on balls already issued by Hudson, and Eric, what's going on with him?
Well, that's the way you have to approach Tim Hudson as an offensive ball club. You have to be patient. Why he is so effective is he gets guys to swing at balls out of the zone. That's always been the way he's had success. If you go up there, you make him throw strikes, make him throw the ball over the plate, you're going to have some sort of success. And this is what's happened so far. If Houston's been patient, they're drawing some walks, they're getting some base runners. They're going to force Tim Hudson to throw strikes.
Well, the key for a split finger pitcher, they have to throw their fastball for a strike, and then they throw their split off of the fastball, trying to get it out of the zone to where the hitter either swings over it for a swing and a miss or tops it for a double play. Berkman, 18 ground ball double plays this year. He is prone to ground it into 2.
He walked his first time up, runners at first and second. And again, Hudson misses.
And missing up in the zone a little bit. That's not his game. Sinker ball, ground ball pitcher. He's got to find a way to get that pitch down in the zone.
Biggio at second, Tavares at first. Another threat here for Houston in a 1-1 tie. And again, that misses the mark. 2-0.
Well, Tim Hudson, this is a bad matchup for him. He hasn't been able to control his pitches, and Lance Berkman, a very patient hitter. Always has an on-base percentage of over 400. Still drew over 90 walks in limited time this year, not playing a full season. You know, he is going to wait to get a pitch he can drive.
Didn't like that one, and it's high again, according to Joe Brinkman. And Hudson just kind of glared over in his own dugout after that one, which was awfully close, was not called a strike.
I have to say, I thought it was up in the zone. I mean, Joe Brinkman tends to call a pretty decent strike zone. And, you know, over the years, he's been fairly consistent behind the plate.
The 3-0 pitch taking all the way, and that's ball 4. And the bases are all filled up. Back-to-back walks here. And Leo Mazzoni is coming out of the dugout. The Braves pitching staff's had a lot of injuries this year, a lot of rehab stints, and Leo says he's gone to the stronger stuff to calm his stomach. To Nexium, he said. He said Pepto and Maalox don't work anymore.
Well, this staff, they've used more pitchers this year than any other year under Leo Mazzoni's tenure since 1991. You know, so he has been able to develop guys. Guys have come in, they've listened to him, they've gone with suggestions. It's interesting to see how guys are successful when they pitch here. They may go elsewhere, and they don't have the same type of success. And everybody talks about the talent the Braves have had and the arms. But a lot of that has to do with Leo Mazzoni and his ability to teach.
Well, the numbers are solid this season, but the Braves won the ERA title 10 times between 1992 and 2004. They're 6th in ERA this year. Look at the starters, a little bit better than that, but their bullpen has been a trouble spot. 12th in ERA in the National League. Here's Morgan Ensberg with the bases loaded for Houston, and he takes high for ball 1.
Well, it's going to be interesting here right now for Phil Garner what he does with Ensberg, whether he makes him take a pitch or whether he's going to just turn him loose here. This situation, Hudson's forced back into the zone. Phil Garner said for the game, I'm mix and match. I go with my gut. This situation, chance to blow this open. Look for Ensberg to be swinging.
He does swing and cracks a base hit to left field. Biggio is in. Tavares rounding third. He's trying to score. Jordan's throw is cut off, and it's a 2-run single for Morgan Ensberg. And without Bagwell and Kent or Beltran, the Astros needed a hitting star. Ensberg was that man all season. He's doing it again in the postseason.
Well, he has done it all year long, and in these situations, he's come up big. You know, he knows as a hitter, there's nowhere for Tim Hudson to put him. The bases are loaded. He's behind 1-0. He's up there being aggressive. And when Steve talks about, you know, would Phil Garner put the hit or the take on or let him hit? You know, you've got to let him hit in this situation just because he's put up almost 40 home runs this year. And that's by being aggressive. He gets a good ball to handle, drives it to left.
Still only 1 out. Hudson still struggling mightily here in the third as the Astros have taken a 3-1 lead. That brings up Jason Lane, and he cut and missed on the first one for strike 1.
Well, it's been such a struggle all year for the Astros to score runs. I mean, this is a dream come true for them to have Andy Pettitte on the mound and a chance to really get some runs for him. Let him settle down during the course of the year, take you deep into the game. Exactly playing the way the Astros would like to start this game.
2 on, 1 out, 2 runs in this inning. Nothing in 2 on Lane. He hit into a 5-4-3 double play his first time up.
Well, and see, Lane, first 2 pitches, he's up there swinging. You know, he's not being patient like the other hitters prior to him. You know, Ensberg takes a pitch. Berkman walks. Tavares walks. He goes to a 3-2 count. You know,
if you've seen that, as a hitter, you've got to go up there with a plan and not just wildly go up there and start swinging.
The 0-2. Ground ball to Chipper Jones. He handles that one into second, and it's dropped, but after the out had been made on the exchange. So they're safe on the corners, out in the middle, 2 down, and that'll bring up Orlando Palmeiro.
Well, when you're in trouble and you're a sinker ball pitcher, you want to get a ground ball. He gets it here. Chipper gets it cleanly, quick release, solid throw. Giles just tries to turn to make the throw before he has a grip on it. They get the out at second base, but still runners on the corner.
So the 7th man in the inning to hit will be Orlando Palmeiro, who Hudson walked in the second inning. And the Astros on top 3-1 and swinging pretty good bats. They have 4 hits, and they have been very patient against Hudson. Right through there for a knee-high strike.
Well, and see, now Palmeiro goes up there. He's going to see some pitches, and that's the difference between a veteran hitter or somebody that's younger and aggressive and gets a bit caught up in the situation, as did Jason Lane his last at-bat.
The 0-1 dropped inside, a ball, a strike on Palmeiro. Offensively, the Astros have been quite offensive. 11th in the National League in runs, hitting only .256. They don't hit a lot of home runs, 9th in the league in that category.
Well, it's been a struggle all year. Therefore, they have to manufacture runs. Tim Hudson's doing them a favor, though, by issuing base on balls. You have to force this team to beat you.
Fouled off. Palmeiro will about to be facing a 1-2 pitch here. With runners at first and third, 3-1 Houston.
Well, Eric, we saw Jeff Francoeur for Atlanta and Jason Lane both swinging early in the count at pitches. That really is a young hitter's approach. Worried that they're not going to get a better strike than the first one they see in the at-bat.
Well, I think to be a successful hitter in the big leagues, you have to not worry about hitting with 1 strike or 2 strikes. If you're so anxious up there and say, I don't want to get behind 0-2.
That one hit him. Palmeiro gets drilled, and the bases will be reloaded for the Astros here. And Hudson is all over the place.
Well, he is. He hasn't been able to show control, and the combination of the Astro hitters for the most part being relatively patient, you know, it's led to a bad situation for Tim Hudson and this Atlanta Brave group right now. And getting back to hitting in the approach, you know, a lot of guys go up there and they're scared to hit 0-2. I don't want to strike out. I don't want to get in that situation. But if you can go up there and be patient, see a lot of pitches, that will always be to the hitter's advantage. And that's not to say, hey, don't ever swing at the first pitch or the first strike, but if you can be patient, you give yourself a better chance.
An Astro at every base for Adam Everett, who flied out to left his first trip. And for Tim Hudson, usually a terrific controlled pitcher. 4 walks and a hit batsman in 2 2/3.
Well, we're seeing Hudson leaving all of his fastballs up and into the right-handed hitter. To me, that means his body's flying open, his arms dragging behind. He has to slow his body down and get on top of it.
Rattled to for call, up and over to first, and gets him for out number 3. But it's a 2-run inning off of Tim Hudson. As wild as you're ever going to see him, the Astros take advantage and lead it 3-1.
Applebee's new Italian style is here.
Hey, Mambo! Mambo Italiano, you must go. Cause something tasty's going on. Oh, Applebee's will thrill you with some food right off the grill.
With so much Italian flavor, Applebee's Italian style will make your taste buds dance.
Hey, Mambo! Mambo Italiano, don't be slow. Cause soon it will be gone. Oh, new Italian dishes that are Applebee's delicious.
Eating good in the neighborhood.
There are millions surfing the web with Net Zero for less than $10 a month. Are you one of them? If not, then it's time to switch to the internet service that ranks higher than AOL in customer satisfaction. Join the millions. Switch to Net Zero. Go to netzero.com.
At Samuel Adams, hops are to beer what grapes are to wine. Just take a smell.
That's why I found Jim Cook goes to Bavaria to hand select the best hops in the world. Most other brewers just call in their orders.
Only the best hops make the best tasting beer.
You gelling? No telling how much I'm gelling. You gelling?
I'm like mud gelling. I'm so gelling.
Quit yelling. We're gelling.
Right.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
Tastier, crispier Tostitos restaurant-style tortilla chips. You are one lucky salsa. Oh, to have a chip this tasty dipped into you. My little bowl of chunky goodness.
Honey, who are you talking to?
Tostitos, now even tastier and crispier.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do we. That's why families trust Lowe's for installation. Not because we give you your very own project management teams to guide you and help you throughout the entire process, which we do, or because our installers are certified and fully insured, or because Lowe's guarantees you'll be satisfied with our installation service on everything we install. You see, at Lowe's, improving home improvement never ends.
Now get all over-the-range microwaves installed for just $59.
Tiger Woods is looking for his 4th American Express championship, but standing in his way are Phil Mickelson and Vijay Singh. The American Express Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Welcome back to the 2005 National League Division Series presented by Budweiser. And this afternoon from Turner Field in Atlanta, the Astros have jumped out on front of the Braves 3-1 behind Andy Pettitte, the left-hander who enjoyed a tremendous season a year after undergoing elbow surgery. He will take on Johnny Estrada, then the pitcher Hudson, and then Rafael Furcal. The Braves did have bullpen activity during Hudson's struggles during the top of the inning. Estrada 261, 4 home runs in a disappointing season after being an all-star last year when he hit .314. He really tailed off amidst a bunch of injuries as he takes a strike.
And he's only hitting .210 as a right-handed hitter as well. And one of the injuries he had, his neck was sore after a collision at the home plate earlier this year in a game with the Angels where Darren Erstad kind of took him out, and he hasn't quite been the same this year since then.
Lifts a high pop up along the right field line. A lengthy run for Lane. Will he get there? Reaches, and it's off the glove. And Estrada will swing again. Lane had a shot at it, but off the leather, and it falls harmlessly away.
Well, this is in the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, it's right in the corner. It's a tough play for the right fielder, the second baseman, the first baseman. Really, the person that has the best shot is the person running into the ball, and that's the right fielder. Jason Lane made a good effort, but was unable to hold on to the ball.
No error charge there.
Interesting, though, he's running in looking at Biggio with his eyes shifted off the ball to see what the second baseman's doing. He needs to take charge and call off even like a veteran like Craig Biggio. You see him, watch him coming in here. He shifts down looking at the second base. Hey, who's going to take this? They're waiting for the call from the right fielder. That's his ball, especially when he's that close to it.
Well, he is looking at the infielders and what the outfielder needs to do, especially maybe not in the situation today because the crowd is not packed and noisy, but he's got to either wave or he's got to do some sort of visual so the other infielders can recognize that and go off the ball and allow him to catch it.
Johnny Estrada called out on strikes, so 1 man gone for Tim Hudson. A 138 batting average during the season, no home runs. The right-hander is a Georgia product out of Columbus, Georgia. Growing up in a blue-collar family along the Georgia-Alabama state line, he then became an All-American at Auburn, where he was not only an outstanding pitcher, he was an outstanding hitter. His senior year, he hit .396 for Auburn with 18 homers, and get this, 95 runs batted in. Now, he's lost some of those hitting skills with all of those years with Oakland, obviously in the American League, but he can be a threat.
Well, he broke a pretty good hitter's RBI record at Auburn, a guy by the name of Frank Thomas. And playing along with Tim Hudson last year, he would let me know about it.
Swinging a high fly to left. Palmeiro back has room to make the catch into the corner, but it sailed all the way to the warning track with a little wind help there. 2 down, and for more on Tim Hudson, we go to our man Tim Kirkchin.
You know, Dave, when he didn't pitch at Auburn, Tim Hudson played center field, and he told me that if he played center field the day after he pitched, and he had to cut loose on a ball and throw a guy out the plate, he threw it as hard as he could to home plate the day after he pitched. I think that tells you a little bit about Tim Hudson, the competitor.
And we'll see how he competes the rest of the day, Tim, because he's had a rough afternoon on the hill already with 4 walks and a hit batsman and down 3-1. In the meantime, Pettitte has retired 6 in a row since allowing the first inning home run to Chipper Jones. His day started by getting Rafael Furcal on a comebacker. And he's been very sharp, as he has been all season. 17-9 coming in. Flirting with the bunt. Furcal pulled it away, and the count 2-0.
Well, Morgan Ensberg, the third baseman, playing in very, very shallow in this situation. Typically, with 2 outs, you want a hitter to try to hit a double. But a guy like Furcal can get a bunt base hit and steal a base. You have to try to take the bunt away.
0 for 7 against Pettitte in his career. 2-1.
Well, and also for Call, just getting down to first base with Marcus Giles coming up next, who wears Houston Astro pitching out. But Marcus has the chance to hit one out of the ballpark. For Call's only job, get down to first base.
There's a bunt attempt, but popped up back toward the screen and off into the seats. So no play for Ausmus. For Call, of course, is going to be one of the big-time free agent names this winter, who could well be elsewhere next spring. Red Sox star Johnny Damon, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa was a big disappointment in Baltimore. Phillies closer Billy Wagner, Yankee star Hideki Matsui, they could all be available. Mike Piazza too, along with Paul Konerko. They all be wearing other uniforms in 2006. Here's the 2-2, and it's on the corner for strike 3. Pettit right along the edge of the plate, picks up 2 strikeouts in the inning and has 3, along with a 3-1 lead after 3.
Round up the best players the game has ever seen. Invite the largest field in history. Throw $53 million in the pot. And you've got the main event. Begins Tuesday at 8 on ESPN.
Nips? New Nips. Now with more real craft cheese. Because when you love Nips, it shows.
They have passed this way before. The journeymen and women who make their meeting, who make their mark. We know them well and pay homage with Wi-Fi, with 24-hour markets, with ergonomic 360-degree swiveling desk chairs. We've learned from their legion and remade ourselves in their image. These are the fruits of your labor. Enjoy.
Your SUV is designed to go off-road, but sometimes the off-road comes to you. Introducing the new Goodyear Forterra with silent armor technology, made with SUV drivers in mind. A layer made with Kevlar means the Forterra is tough and rugged, and extra cushioning means the Forterra rides quietly and comfortably. The new Goodyear Forterra with silent armor technology. Go confidently on the wings of Goodyear.
If you love the convenience of shopping online, but you want to get a hold of your stuff ASAP, Circuit City makes it simple. Just buy online at CircuitCity.com and choose the in-store pickup option. We're the only place that guarantees your purchase will be ready for pickup in 24 minutes or less. If it's not, we'll give you a $24 gift card. It's that simple. Circuit City.
Top of the 4th inning in Atlanta. The Astros in front of the Braves 3-1 here in Game 1 of the National League Division Series as Brad Ausmus gets in against Tim Hudson. A very out-of-character performance so far by Hudson, who's been quite wild. It's a big reason he's down 3-1. As mentioned, his track record against Houston coming into today wasn't very long. He had only made 2 appearances, 2 starts against them. But he had allowed just 1 run in 16 innings, and that included a 9-inning gem at Houston on April 18th when he shut him out on 4 hits.
Well, he just really hasn't had any command of any of his pitches, but as much trouble as he's had today, I mean, it could be a lot worse. He's induced 2 double plays, could have possibly had a third. It's a 3-1 game. It's a 2-0 game. You know, it's only 2 runs, and you know that's got to be the positive way you look at it if you're the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the Astros looking at it their way, of course. They loaded up the bases twice in the 3rd inning, left them loaded when Aaron Everett hit in their ground ball to short, and that was the end of the inning. So they really could have blown the doors open on the ball game then. Andy Pettit to follow. He certainly looks like a man in command on a hill, and then Craig Biggio as it is inside at the elbow of Ausmus.
Well, and that's what we talked about at the beginning of the game. When you have opportunities to get Tim Hudson, you better get him, because at any time he can turn it around and become the dominant pitcher that he normally is.
The 2-2 to Ausmus. right by everyone, over the head of Estrada and his glove to the backstop.
You know, Tim Hudson's mechanics are really messed up right now, and a lot of times when you get emotional, you have energy, your body comes rushing out as he kind of jumps out at the hitter, but his arm is dragging behind, so his release point is much higher and back behind his body. He needs to slow his body down, get rotation out over that front leg so his release point can get out in front a little bit. A lot of times what pitching coaches will do is have the pitcher go to the breaking ball, because the pitcher's often in their mind think, I've got to get on top and get out in front a little bit, see what he can do.
Well, he's already walked 4 men. Swinging a fly ball to center. A 7-time Gold Glover back, and it's over his head. Andrew Jones cannot make the play, and Ausmus rumbles into second with a double. And as it is with every fly ball in the dead center field, you just assume it's going to be caught. Mazzoni is on the horn to get the bullpen going again. But Andrew Jones didn't get a real good look at that, and it went over his head for a double.
Well, I don't know. You know, Andrew Jones plays historically a very shallow center field. Takes away all the base hits in front of him, and every once in a while, if you scorch the ball, you're going to be able to get one over Andrew Jones' head. Brad Ausmus put a charge in it. Now it's Pettit's job to get him to third.
Pettit whiffed his first time up. Looking to bunt here, pulls it away, and it's high for a ball.
Well, Andy Pettit is the best at this situation right here. 15 sacrifice bunts this year, the most for any pitcher in the National League. In order to be good in the National League as a pitcher, you have to pitch, but you also have to hold runners, field your position, and handle the bat. Andy Pettit can really handle the bat.
Nobody out, and another man in scoring position for Houston. Already in front 3-1. Pettit pulls it away, and again it's upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes. Everything is high from Hudson.
Well, you know, I'm watching Tim Hudson, and the mechanics are a bit off, but I'm also noticing he's constantly rubbing his pants, trying to get a feel. He worked the ball, that previous pitch to Brad Ausmus. You know, it may be one of those days where he just can't seem to get a grip on the baseball.
Pettit squares again, drops it down. Beautifully done. Hudson, the one play, low throw, and even that was badly thrown. Down to third goes Ausmus.
I'm telling you, I think it's a grip. I mean, he is constantly looking at the ball. He's changing the ball. He's rubbing his hands. You know, I wouldn't doubt. I mean, some days pitchers just cannot get a feel for the ball. And here he comes in and fields the ball. You know, this is just a routine play to first. First thing he does when he's done is rub his hand.
Bounced a changeup over there. And scooped up for the out sacrifice for Pettit to get Ausmus down to third. Now the infield comes in. Activity, righties and lefties warming up for Bobby Cox. And now Hudson has to deal with Craig Biggio, who he has not gotten out today. The second baseman, a single and a double. He has scored each time. A pitch out, no play on here. So Bobby Cox thinking about a squeeze.
Well, Phil Garner, that's part of his offensive arsenal. There's no question about it. He will squeeze in any situation. He's done it really with most guys throughout the lineup because he doesn't have the great power hitters. That's always a threat, and therefore really puts some stress on the defense.
Yeah, but do you put a squeeze on when a guy has no control right now? I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, great point. Inside on Biggio, of course, gets drilled all the time. He's been hit 273 times in his career. That's the modern baseball record.
And you're right, when he's struggling to throw strikes, to make him throw a ball out of the zone, you're just putting him in a hole on Craig Biggio, who's already gotten 2 base hits against him.
Yeah, why give him an out? One gone here. Fouled away at the plate by Biggio.
Yeah, the one thing you can say about Tim Hudson and why he is a superstar pitcher, he's got the talent, but he's also got the fortitude. This guy will go out and battle and battle and battle, and it doesn't matter. You can kick him, knock him down, and he will continue to get back up, and that's what he's done up to this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets out of this inning unscathed.
He comes set, and the 2-1 to Biggio will not be made. Ausmus at third on a windy day in Atlanta as the clouds came soaring in just about an hour or so before the first pitch. The wind really started to kick up. That's been blowing around. Hudson with obvious issues here today, having trouble gripping the ball, it appears. There's a swing and a high fly left center. Jordan And Jones there. Andrew Jones coming in now to make the catch. Here comes Ausmus. The throw to the plate sails by. And another run in for the Astros. They lead it 4-1. Biggio coming through again with a sac fly and an RBI.
I'll tell you, very aggressive play by the Astros right there. I mean, a fly ball where Andrew Jones can get behind it, get movement through the ball, and get the ability to set on a fairly shallow fly ball to left. This is really taking a chance of being aggressive, and they challenged him, and Andrew Jones threw it overhead. Now, part of the reason Willie Taveras up now only has 23 RBI in the year. He's not one that tends to drive in runs, so why not try to do it? It's almost like having the pitcher spot up next. Try to get the run in that situation just because Willie's not a big RBI guy.
Taveras with a sac bunt. He's also walked and scored a run. He went chasing that time. Nothing in 2 on the number 2 hitter.
You know, it also helps to be ahead 3-1. You know, I don't know if you're behind if you try that, but getting back to what we were talking about earlier with Taveras, doesn't hit a lot of balls out of the infield, so it's a good time to send him.
These Astros do not customarily give their pitchers a lot of support, but Pettit has 4 runs early. High chop, leaping up to get it, Chipper Jones, and the side is retired. But for the 3rd inning in the game, the 4th time today, the Astros are on the board to lead it 4-1 in Atlanta.
High definition TV, amazing picture quality.
Things that are good.
High speed internet, faster downloads.
Things that are great.
Warts, satellite dishes.
Things that should be removed.
Next. A free library of on-demand movies.
Things you'd give your right arm for?
Yes. HD TV, high-speed internet,
things that are,
free on-demand movies.
Things that are Comcast.
Yeah! Oh, my God!
The NHL is back. NHL Center Ice is your ticket to get inside the NHL with up to 40 games a week outside your local area. Don't miss the intensity of increased rivalry, great new rules, and no more ties. The shootout is on NHL Center Ice. Order by October 31st and get NHL Center Ice for $129. $30 off the regular season price. When it comes to sports, we're on your team.
ESPN Original Entertainment presents the story of a student who walked onto the track a man and left a legend. 4 minutes. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
People everywhere are experiencing a breakthrough. Fullness from a value menu.
Please. Thank you. I have an announcement. I'm full!
Taco Bell's Big Bell Value Menu, featuring the half-pound beef combo burrito with double the beef. To keep your stomach and your wallet full, think outside the bun.
There is one conventional oil that totally defies convention. Mobile Clean 5000. The first oil enhanced with a high-endurance formula. The only one guaranteed to protect for 5,000 miles. Mobile Clean 5000. The oil that's changing oil.
Millions of fans fell in love with the Contender. Now, LA's own Sergio Mora defends his belt against the pride of Providence, Peter Manfredo Jr. The Contender rematch live Saturday, October 15th at 11 on ESPN.
Bottom 4, very rough day for Tim Hudson, the Atlanta starter. He has been all over the place, over the heads of hitters to the backstop.
Well, he has been all over the place, and as Steve mentioned earlier, you know, mechanical adjustment probably needs to be made. You know, I've noticed him rubbing his hands quite a bit and maybe can't get a feel for the ball. You know, today it's not real humid. It's not easy to grip the ball. It's almost like a dry kind of feeling, which makes the ball slippery. You know, I haven't seen Tim Hudson like this. I would argue that he's probably having trouble gripping the ball today.
And to their credit, the Astros have made him throw a lot of pitches. They've made him be ineffective in spots by taking close pitches that went against Hudson. At times he's been frustrated with that strike zone of Joe Brinkman, but most of the damage is his own.
Well, when your pitcher's having trouble throwing strikes, oftentimes it puts you on your heels a little bit, and that's what this feels like. It feels like the Astros are charging straight ahead, and like the Braves are kind of on their heels waiting for something to happen. They need to get aggressive right now. This is an important offensive inning for the Braves. Get somebody on, get some movement, get some momentum, start to turn this thing around.
2-1 on Marcus Giles. He's 0 for 1 today. And, of course, his older brother Brian, who led the majors in walks this season, tries to get his San Diego Padres into the win column in the playoffs. That one fly to left center. Will drop down for a hit. Giles wants 2. Here's the throw to second. He dives. Collision, and he's safe. A double for Giles. And that's the aggressive jump start you were talking about, Steve. Giles with a 2-base hit to begin the 4th for Tim Hudson in Atlanta.
That really is. And what a collision at second base with Biggio and Giles. And, you know, reverse from the last inning when Biggio hit the double, it went into second base. And I'll tell you, Giles hits it in the gap. Ball well played. Almost overruns a little bit. Takes a little longer to throw it by Palmeiro, but Giles all the way thought 2 out of the box. And you know what? You're down a few runs, but you need some energy right now. He gets in, hands beat the tag down. This is what, now you got the crowd into it a little bit. You got the dugout guys on the top step starting to get things going. This is what they need. This is the spark they needed.
Well, it's a great play if you're safe at second base, which Marcus Giles was. If he's out right there, this whole place is deflated, and the last thing you want to do is just give away outs.
Knocked out of the comebacker. Pettit glanced at second, fires on to first to get Chipper Jones as Giles holds. 1 man out. So the range of Andy Pettit came into play there at 6'5", still very agile at the age of 33.
Well, it's a nice play by Andy Pettit, but you know, in that situation, Chipper Jones probably needs to be a bit more patient. You know, he's got it. They just had some excitement. Giles gets into second. You know, that's an important run. That makes it a 2-run ball game. That's a guy on and a base hit or a home run. You're tied up. You know, with the middle of the lineup, why go back to Giles? I don't know if I'd have him running into second like he did. You got the middle of the lineup coming up. And the last thing you want to do is have the Astros throw somebody out at second. Your middle lineup guys come up with nobody on.
Let's say this, it worked. And it got this place going. Not nearly a sellout in Atlanta, but got them excited. That's in there for a strike on Andrew Jones. He's 0 for 1 with a fly to right.
But just remember, because things work does not mean they're right. Because a lot of things work, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right thing to do.
Steve, what do you say to that?
I tell you what, I actually thought it was a good play. I think they needed that energy and that he was safe. You're right. If he's out, you don't want to run into it. It's like what Vladimir Guerrero did the other day.
Swinging a high fly ball center field. Tavares backing up. Track wall, and she's gone. Andrew Jones strikes. A 2-run shot for Atlanta. '51 during the season, the most in the majors. He came in a bad slump. Apparently, Andrew Jones is out of it.
Well, it's just what Andrew Jones needed. He made mention last week that he felt tired. He didn't feel healthy, and this last month has been a tough one for him. It's affected his game. But you don't want to hear that from your star player. He said, hopefully when the playoffs start, I can get charged again. And that's a charge. It gets his whole crowd back into the game. You know, and going back to the whole Giles thing, Giles scores from first base in that situation as well as second.
Fouled along the third base line by Franco as the chop is humming here in Atlanta.
Well, that home run hit by Andrew Jones, it was a pitch on the inner part of the plate. Just threw him a cutter on the inside part. What Bobby Cox has said, the problem that Andrew Jones has had is that he's been getting around the pitches on the outside part of the zone and trying to hook them. He threw him a pitch inside. He kept his hands in, cleared the hands, and drove that ball to left field. Good at bat.
Well, and you know when you're keeping your hands inside, if the pitch is inside and you're driving it out to left center. If you're coming around the ball, you're going to hit that ball foul or hit it into the left field seats.
Eric, what do you say now about the hustle double by Giles?
Well, that's why I said he scores easy from first base. That's why I said that's why I say the risk. Yeah. The risk. He would have scored on the home run from first as well as second. And if he's out, that's only a 1-run shot, and it's 4-2.
See, Andrew's tired. And what Giles thought is, I need to get the crowd into this a little bit, just to light a fire under Andrew Jones. So it was part of the plan so that Andrew would step up and hit one out. See, he just said, I did it for you.
I'm not so sure, knowing Marcus Giles, that there's a lot of planning going on. It's a lot of reaction and a lot of playing.
Well, it worked.
Franco takes a strike. He whiffed in the second inning. By the way, Andy Pettit had not allowed more than 1 home run in a game in his last 35 starts. The Jones boys have got him twice today. Chipper in the first and Andrew here in the fourth with a 2-run shot to make it 4-3. So the Astro lead down to 1. As Franco takes inside, and it's 2-2.
See, what we're seeing, though, is really somewhat the difference between the Astros and the Braves. The Astros have to bunch hits together to get their runs. And then in 1/2 inning, all of a sudden, the Braves hit a couple home runs, crowd's into it, they're back in the game. That sort of firepower means you're always in the game. And for the Astros, they're always looking over their shoulder.
Franco fouls that one away. The rookie Jeff Francoeur follows him. 4-3 Houston. Braves averaged about 31,500 during the regular season. In a season that saw Major League Baseball set a new attendance record in 2005 with over 75 million people coming through the turnstiles. Fouled off again by Franco.
Well, winning's gotten a little bit boring here in Atlanta because playoff game and not all the seats filled up today. And you know, I think that it's been an issue here over the last few years, and I think that fans have gotten a little bit complacent that they expect to get to this round. They want to see what happens, and if the Atlanta Braves can take them deeper into the playoffs.
Capacity about 50,000 as Franco lets it go down low, 3-2. But the fans that are here today certainly ready to roar, and they did when Chipper hit his out in the first inning. And louder still when Andrew tagged Pettit for a 2-run homer here in the fourth.
Well, what will be interesting is to watch how long Bobby Cox will go with Tim Hudson. I mean, he's been in trouble. Again, he's pitched well enough where it's only a 1-run ball game right now, but I don't think he's going to have that leash as he's had the first few innings.
Franco takes ball 4. The first walk issued by Andy Pettit today. Let's go down to Tim Kirchin.
You know, Dave, the Jones boys hit homers in the same game here. They have 50 times in their careers have they homered in the same game. That is the largest total of any active teammates. Second most belonged to Biggio and Bagwell, and the Jones boys couldn't have picked a better time to hit homers in the same game.
Well, Andrew did it last year against the Astros, of course, in a losing cause in the division series, which Houston won 3-2, but he was 10 out of 19 with 2 homers. He hit .526 against them. Chipper did not have much success against the Astros last year in October. He hit just 200, but off to a good start today.
Well, it really is, and this is what this offense needed, those two guys to produce. You know, especially seeing Chipper hit that ball in the first inning, because, again, that allows Andrew Jones to kind of settle in, just relax, and when he's relaxed, you see what he can do. Now, this will be interesting, this at-bat, though. Jeff Francoeur, Pettit's been all over the place. Will he continue to be aggressive and swing at that first pitch?
Franco leaning back in safely.
Well, I'll tell you, Julio Franco wasn't going anywhere there, but Andy Pettit's move to first base is so deceptive. He almost picked him off and caught him leaning. I don't think he's running. I just think Pettit can catch you even if you're just standing there. He's got a chance to pick you off.
Francoeur 0 for 1. Bunts toward third. Into the grass. Ensberg lets it roll. Will it roll foul? It will not. It's a base hit. Francoeur's Franks, his own personal rooting section in the outfield. They watched a gorgeous bunt.
Well, again, he goes after the first pitch, but they give a hit to the groundskeeper in that situation. Ball rolls off the grass, looks like it's going to head past the line for a foul ball, and just stops right before the foul line. Man, that's a great job, right? I don't think anybody expected Francoeur to lay down a bunt.
First and second, only 1 down, and Brian Jordan in. Goes after the very first pitch and fouls it away for a strike.
And a ball up in the zone, and really a pitch that Brian Jordan can't really catch up with anymore at this stage of his career. He's got to get it down in his wheelhouse a little bit. A much better low ball hitter now than he was before. He chases one up in the zone, one that he can't really get a base hit with.
Bobby Cox electing not to start one of his kids in left field. He went with the 37-year-old Jordan, who responded with a magnificent catch up against the wall early. Only had 231 at-bats during the season because of an ailing left knee. But he is a veteran of 4 division series. EK, that makes a big difference.
Well, it does make a difference, and physically Brian Jordan doesn't have the ability that he did in the past, but he still mentally is as tough as anybody, and sometimes if you think you can do it, you will go out and do it.
Outside, Pettit off the corner, 2-1.
I talked to John Sherholz before the game about some of the young players in this sort of a setting, and he said, you know what? We're not worried about them. We know they're going to be a little nervous and a little anxious, but they're very confident, bordering on arrogant, but in a good way, in a baseball way. He doesn't think that they're going to have any problems when their number are called to stand up and deliver.
Well, they're all so mature. Hot shot down to get it, Everest. Divisional 1 on a first double play. Pettit gets the ground ball he needs for a 6-4-3 inning ender. But Atlanta jumps right back in it. They've done it this way all year with Andrew Jones, the MVP candidate, going yard.
So what's different about Budweiser Select? Good question. First, we start with a blend of the finest hand-selected North American and Bavarian hop varieties picked straight from the vine. Then we take the time to brew Budweiser Select longer. So you get a beer with light beer stats and a distinct bold taste that finishes clean. So why settle for anything less? Be selective.
Monster every day looking for the right candidates. But you can't be found unless you post your resume.
On to the 5th inning, and it's gotten tight. The Astros lead has been cut to 4-3. Tim Hudson has had his issues on the mound today. The Braves seldom have an issue when it's John Smoltz on the hill, and the ace is joining us now. And Smoltz, first of all, it was thought to be a given you'd pitch Game 1, the winningest pitcher in postseason history. That's not the case. We'll get to that in a moment. But what are you seeing with Hudson today with his wildness issues?
Well, he's a little bit out of sync. I mean, the emotion of getting in this game and trying to get everything the way you want to get it. You know, you always hope it's going to be there, but he's trying to find his sinker back in the zone. He's a pitcher that realizes he can't live up in the zone, and I think it's just trying a little bit too hard to get the ball in an area. And now maybe the score being 4-3 again, he'll relax and get the ball back in the area because he knows what he's got to do. And it's frustrating for a pitcher when he can't just do it right away. Johnny, Eric Karras, how do you control your emotions? For instance, tomorrow night's game going against Roger Clemens, you with your storied past. I mean, what do you do to contain yourself? Well, I personally love it, so it's easier for me. You know, the anxious moments of waiting, might be a little bit difficult, but I enjoy that atmosphere and that platform. And I really the game actually goes slower for me in those games. I know it sounds crazy, but I've pitched in so many, and it's where I want to be. And if you enjoy being out there in that moment, I think it's easier.
You know, John, it's been a little different year with you. A lot of young players. How has this been different than some of the other years and the success you guys have had here?
Well, honestly, this has been a year where the formula hasn't been exactly predicted from spring training. We've done it with incredible ways. I know we're in the midst of trying to go as far as we can, but these kids that have come up, I don't think people realize what a job they've done and the holes they've filled. It truly is an incredible year, and you know, I don't think you can lop this in with the 14 as far as the formula of how we got there. This certainly is different.
John, we're certainly looking forward to a great pitcher's duel, yourself and the Rocket tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us.
I can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
I believe him when he says that. The same is true of Roger Clemens.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't wait.
Lance Berkman has walked twice in this one. There's a look at that matchup. Postseason numbers there. The Rocket and John Smoltz. John Smoltz, of course, the winningest pitcher in postseason history, 6-0 in the division series in his career, but his sore shoulder somewhat of a concern for Bobby Cox. And if he came up hurt in Game 1, the Braves would have to pitch a John Thompson or a Horacio Ramirez in a possible elimination game in Game 4. And Eric, they didn't want to go there with that.
Now, this is the right move, starting Tim Hudson, because he can come back in a Game 5, and what it does is it allows your bullpen to not be vulnerable, because if Smoltz does pitch today and something happens, then they really are left thin having to use Thompson or Ramirez today.
Well, I tell you right now, we have Tim Hudson, and again, you know, I think it was the right decision as well. But Hudson right now, at least he's missing down in the zone, so he seems like he's slowing himself down a little bit. He's got his arm in a better slot. See if he can get his release point.
High fly, well struck to left. There's Jordan backing up to the track and has it for the out. As Berkman makes his first out of the day after 2 free passes. And you say he may be missing down. Mazzoni and Cox don't think he's missing at all. And they were quite hot on a couple of the pitches, and the crowd reacted as well. that were not called strikes.
Well, he's not going to get the calls today, especially when he hasn't shown that he's got good command. Anytime as a pitcher you don't show good control, good command, you're not going to get that borderline pitch. And Joe Brinkman, a couple times on the last hitter, Berkman, he wanted to give him a strike, but he didn't. And he doesn't do it because Tim Hudson is going to have to establish that he has command.
Well, Ensberg has tattooed him twice for a pair of singles, driving in 3 runs already. 2-run single in the 3rd inning. Great to have you with us here in National League Division Series game number 1 from Atlanta. Dave O'Brien, Steve Phillips, and Eric Karros, otherwise known as the Blue Man Group. We all got the memo on the blue shirts today. And we're looking for Tim Hudson to settle down a little bit here into the pitcher's duel we expected with Andy Pettitte, although Pettitte was roughed up for 2 runs in the 4th.
Dave, we saw Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni kind of barking at the umpire, Joe Brinkman, but that is as much about the umpire as it is about them raising the intensity level of their dugout and the guys on the field. Bobby Cox, it's one of his things he does over the course of the season. He'll bark and try to get his team into the game, this pitch, this inning, this game.
Well, Smoltz predicted that getting a couple of runs would really get Hudson going. Maybe it has.
Well, it has, and Tim Hudson is a competitor. And any time that you're a competitor, sometimes that adrenaline may be flowing too much. And as I've said numerous times, if you don't get Tim Hudson and knock him out, you don't want him sticking around in the game because he is going to be effective. And getting back to Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni and getting on the umpires, what they do better than anybody is support their players. And you talk to guys, whether it's Gary Sheffield or guys that have Brian Jordan, these guys swear by Bobby Cox, and it doesn't matter if the game's in the 9th inning and it's a blowout. If they feel that a pitch isn't called right, they are going to be backing you. And when you have that kind of support from your manager, you will run through a wall for that type of guy.
Jason Lane batting with the bases empty, 2 down. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach of the Astros, who always has the catbird seat in a Houston series with his great pitching staff, will be joining us shortly. Waved at and missed by Lane, and it appears that Hudson is starting to lock back in again.
Well, he really is, and this is going to be the Astros' nightmare. They've had chances to blow him out, and they haven't been able to do it. Hudson has seemed to regroup a little bit, and right after they score, comes out and has a 1-2-3 inning.
And he strikes out Ensberg and Lane back-to-back to get them 1-2-3 here in the 5th. Astros 4, Braves 3 in the middle of the 5th in Atlanta.
Hey, what is that?
Club soda.
But what's that?
ING? They're the financial services company that's all about fresh thinking. They're full of new ideas, so you're ready for whatever comes along.
ING, proud sponsor of the ING New York City Marathon and runners everywhere.
Can't read this. Can you read this?
I can't read this.
What's wrong with this?
It's in black and white.
Black and white's what's wrong with this?
It should be in color.
That is better. How'd you do that?
Xerox Color. It makes business sense.
Bottom of the 5th, 4-3 Houston in front. Andy Pettitte on the hill here for the Houston Astros. Happy to be joined by Jim Hickey, the pitching coach of the Astros. And Jim, doesn't everybody in baseball want your job where you get to watch every day this terrific staff?
Well, I don't know. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. But it is, I think, probably one of the better jobs to have in the game, with the 3 guys at the front and the 1 guy at the back, not to mention all of them in between, because they've all done a great job also.
Jim, Eric Karros, Andy Pettitte so far has thrown a good ball game, 1 or 2 bad pitches. I mean, evaluate his performance up to this point.
Well, it's hard to say he's done an outstanding job with the 3 runs on the board, but I think he's made almost every pitch that he's want to make. So I'd say he's done a real good job. I would expect, I'd be surprised if he ended up, getting touched up again. But, it's a tough lineup over there. A couple of those Jones guys are pretty good hitters, too.
Yeah. Jim, one of the differences from a year ago is you guys have really solidified the bullpen. If Andy Pettitte has to hand the ball off, Tell us a little bit about what that pen is like and how you guys have stabilized it.
Well, if we have to hand the ball off to the bullpen, we don't have any qualms about that whatsoever, all the way from Russ Springer to the back end with Brad Lidge. You know, Wheeler's been outstanding in the 7th and the 8th innings, and Chad Qualls also in the 7th inning and sometimes into the 6th. You know, we've got Gallo down there as a left-hander, and also Wandy Rodriguez adds a little left-handed help down there, too. So we have a lot of confidence.
Jim, thanks so much for joining us. A pleasure.
All right, always a pleasure.
Jim Hickey, pitching coach of the Houston Astros. The number 2 ranked pitching staff in terms of ERA behind St. Louis in the National League. Johnny Estrada leading off the 5th against Pettit. Then Tim Hudson and then Rafael Furcal in a game that has tightened up here. This is game 1 of 3 playoff games on ESPN today and tonight. A late swing and a miss by Estrada. He whiffed in the 3rd inning. And of course we have the Red Sox and the White Sox just after 7 o'clock on ESPN. That's Wells and Burley. Then the Yankees and the Angels at 10:09 on ESPN from the West Coast. And much more to come tomorrow as well, and the best time of the year. And there's nothing like a game 1. And Andy Pettit has been down this road before. He is 13-8 all time in his postseason career. Off the outside corner. This is the first time, however, he has ever started a game 1. Another late swing and a foul tip into the mitt for a strikeout, and Estrada whiffs for the 2nd time. Well, a pair of game 2s coming away tomorrow as the division series continues at 4 o'clock on ESPN2. It's the Padres and the Cardinals. Pedro Estacio against Mark Mulder. And at 8 o'clock on Fox, it's the Astros and the Braves. Roger Clemens against John Smoltz. And a pitcher's duel of the early postseason. Hudson 0 for 1. He's flied to left.
What a tough break for the Padres with Jake Peavy coming out with 2 broken ribs out of the start yesterday. And that's going to make it very tough on them to come back on the Cardinals.
Well, and what that does, too, is it just demoralizes the ball club. I mean, you know, forget what it means just physically, but as a team, you know, that's a guy that you think, okay, this is a guy we can count on. This is a guy that can do it. And, you know, word is that he went into that game with broken ribs that were caused by, you know, that the celebration of them clinching in San Diego.
Oh.
Rafael Furcal to the on-deck circle. 4-3 Houston. The Astros have out-hit the Braves 5-4. The defense has been superb, as we guessed it would be. Atlanta, the number 1 ranked defensive team in the National League. The Astros are number 2 right behind them.
Well, and any time you have great defensive ball clubs, it always helps to have good pitching as well, because that utilizes the great defense. There's nothing good about having great pitchers if you can't field the ball. The 2 go hand in hand, and that's why they're both playing in the postseason.
Well, it's interesting because you look at the Atlanta Braves, they've struck out the least number of hitters in the National League. So hitters put the ball in play. You've got Tim Hudson, sinker ball guy. You need to catch the ball behind that kind of team, a contact pitching staff. The Braves have done it as well as they ever have during Bobby Cox's tenure.
Just 86 errors in 162 games. Roll to the shortstop, a routine play for Everett. And Hudson is retired, 2 down, and the Braves 5th. So the Braves came out charging against Pettit in the 4th inning when they were down 4-1 at the time. Giles with a hustle double to get him going. 1 batter later, Andrew Jones crushed a home run to center, 417 feet. Frank Corwood also dropped down a bunt. The Braves were really rolling then. But then Pettit got Brian Jordan to hit into that 6-4-3 double play to set everybody down in their seats here at Turner Field. And he's gotten the first 2 out here in the 5th. Furcal 0 for 2. Rafael Furcal, a big reason for Atlanta's surge to yet another division title after a rough start. A lot of that because of a balky right shoulder early on. His season really took off. And he hit .340 in the 70 games leading up to the Braves clinching another division.
Well, these 2 guys at the top of the lineup, Furcal and Marcus Giles, I mean, they really determine how this offense is going to go for this Atlanta Brave ball club. If these 2 guys aren't getting on, you can pitch around Chipper Jones, you can pitch around Andrew Jones. But because Furcal and Giles have had good years offensively, it's allowed the Braves to be successful offensively.
Fought off foul by Furcal to the right side.
You know, Dave, you mentioned earlier Furcal is a free agent at the end of this season. and the likelihood is the Braves will not be able to afford him. The free agent market, the contracts for free agent shortstops have gone through the roof. Jimmy Rollins with the Phillies, $8 million a year. You saw last year Cabrera and Renteria, where those contracts went. The likelihood is they're going to have to retool this team again.
Hansberg with the stop, throws on to get for call, and we just wind up a Chicago Cub. They've got a hole at shortstop that could be neatly filled. A neat inning for Pettit. He gets the 1-2-3.
NFL Sunday Night Football on ESPN HD. Football like you've never seen it before. From bone-crushing tackles to fingertip catches, Comcast digital cable with high definition is the best way to experience the extremes of the NFL. 100-yard sprints to 1-inch battles. Don't miss any of it with the best seat in the house. Watch Sunday Night Football on ESPN HD. And the best way to get HD is through Comcast digital cable with high definition.
What you wish you could do in real life, now you can do at VX.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
Tonight, the Major League Baseball Division Series continues. At 7, Ortiz and the Red Sox take on Paul Konerko and the White Sox. Then at 10, A-Rod and the Yankees face Vlad Guerrero and the Angels. On ESPN2 at 7:30, two explosive offenses go head-to-head as Miami of Ohio takes on Northern Illinois. It's all on tonight. For breaking news and scores, turn to ESPN News.
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Okay.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki Grand Vitara. You want more out of life? We're giving you the green light. Go.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
It's time for your chance to win one of 100 Philips HD TVs with DirecTV service for a year. Log on to 100yardblitz.com to enter. The code word is dugout.
Your HD 100-yard blitz code word for today is dugout. Log on to 100yardblitz.com for your chance to win. Division Series game number 1. Houston on top of Atlanta 4-3 as we go to the 6th inning. Orlando Palmeiro has yet to make an out. Although the last time, painfully, he was hit by a pitch. That's how he reached that. He walked in the 2nd inning. He'll be followed by Adam Everett and then Brad Ausmus against Tim Hudson, who had a 1-2-3 inning his last time to the hill, and now flipped from Franco over to Hudson. Gets the first man in the 6th.
You know, there are a number of reasons to try and have Tim Hudson, you know, increase his pitch count. You know, go up there, take some pitches, not only for today's game, but you know, how much longer does Bobby Cox go with Tim Hudson? And if he keeps him for the 6th and the 7th inning, then how will that affect him if he has to come back for a 5th game? So it's not just about this ball game and increasing pitch counts. This also has to do with what's going to happen later on in the series.
Well, Bobby and Leo do not have the bullpen they've had in the past, as Everett takes a strike in the outside corner. The Braves bullpen ranked 12th in the National League with a 4.74 ERA and suffered the 3rd most losses, plus 24 blown saves. Hudson looking for a big workload today, but this one fly to deep center. Andrew Jones has a beat on it, and he's got it. Everett sent it for a ride, just not deep enough. 2 down.
Well, the reason the bullpen struggled so much is Danny Kolb, acquired in the offseason to be the closer for this team. He struggled terribly and ended up forcing him out of that role. You see the blown saves right there. And then what happens, everybody else becomes miscast. You had Rietsma going to the closer's role. They had to shuffle everybody around, and you get an unsettled bullpen. There's a psychology that exists. If the closer's role settled, everybody else is. When that was unsettled, they had a lot of problems, but at the end of the year, it came together because Kyle Farnsworth took on that closer's role. They now have somewhat more defined roles out there in a much more stable situation.
Osmussen the game 1 for 2 with a double. Of course, Kyle Farnsworth has been terrific for them down the stretch. He's gone 10 for 10 as the closer.
Well, and he's been dominating too. I mean, opponents are hitting about 160 off of him, and he's got electric stuff. He always has had great physical attributes. He just hadn't been able to put it together. He's finally found a home here in Atlanta.
Soft ground ball to the outfield. Giles zips it over. 1, 2, 3. They go. Just 6 pitches in that inning necessary for Hudson. And he has set down 9 in a row. Big bats coming up for Atlanta. Giles, Jones, and then Andrew Jones to come.
Goodyear knows you're not the only one who depends on your tires. That's why there's the new Goodyear Wrangler with Silent Armor technology. It's engineered with a layer made with Kevlar for toughness and a quieter ride. Get the truck tire you can count on. The new Goodyear Wrangler with Silent Armor technology, so you can be there on the wings of Goodyear.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Marge. I'm Maggie. Nice to meet you. I'm Mary. My name's Rhoda.
Rhoda.
I'm Laverne. This is my friend Shirley. I'm Betty. Nice to meet you. I'm Wilma. I'm Cindy. Jan. Marcia. Hi, I'm Janet. I'm Chrissy. My name's Mary Ann. Hi, I'm Ginger.
Hi. So where are you ladies from?
Mayberry?
Cool.
For all the best in wireless, it's Radio Shack. The best brands, carriers, and plans for every budget. Come see for yourself now during our Best of the Best wireless sale. Buy a new Sprint PCS phone A840 by Samsung with built-in digital camera for just $59.99 and get one free after $50 Sprint mail-in rebate with new 2-year Sprint subscriber agreement on each. Come see why our sales associates are #1 in wireless customer satisfaction and why we sell more wireless phones than any other consumer electronics retailer at Radio Shack.
Every morning at Lowe's, our crews supply the finest pro-grade materials and equipment. Roll in, load up, roll out.
Taking notes? Just drive.
Lowe's, home of Jimmy Johnson, Team 48, and everyone who gets the job done fast.
Tastier, crispier Tostitos restaurant-style tortilla chips dipped in the queso smooth Monterey Jack cheese.
Honey, can we eat them now?
Oh, yeah.
Tostitos, now even tastier and crispier.
Bottom of the 6th of game 1, the Astros with a 4-3 lead over Atlanta. Expected to be a very good pitcher's duel today, but how about tomorrow when the Rocket Roger Clemens goes toe-to-toe with John Smoltz?
Well, and how often are you going to see a staff where Roger Clemens is the game 2 starter?
Yeah.
Well, you know, he should have pitched better. He should have done better than 187 ERA.
Well, he only won 13 games. Now, again, they got shut out in 7 of his starts this year. I mean, they just didn't score any runs for Clemens.
Phenomenal. Hot shot grounder by Giles, scooped up by Ensberg. And Giles is retired. He's 1 for 3. Chipper Jones about to swing away, and he certainly did that in the first inning, taking Pettit out to the opposite field.
Well, he went with the pitch. He got a 2-seamer that was out over the plate, running away from the right-handed hitter. Randy Pettit ran into trouble. He was up in the zone. Chipper Jones did what he's been doing his entire career. It's driving the ball the opposite way for a home run.
The 33-year-old switch hitter was on the disabled list for about 6 weeks in midseason with a torn ligament in his left foot. Played in just 109 games, by far his fewest since breaking into the majors in 1995.
Well, when Chipper was out this year, too, and they had lost 60% of their starting rotation, that's when Andrew Jones stepped up and really put the team on his shoulders, and that's why he's getting a lot of votes for the MVP. Chipper's an important guy. When he was out, somebody had to do it, and it was Andrew Jones who stepped up to get it done.
Andrew Jones with a home run in this one, a 2-run shot in the 4th inning off Pettit. And Chipper, the last 2 division series, has been largely ineffective. In 0-3 against the Cubs and last year against Houston. As he takes a ball, he is 7 for 38 in his last 2 division series. That's just a 184 batting average.
Yeah, but you know what Chipper brings to this lineup is something different than anybody else offers, and that's his ability to be patient, draw walks, get on base. Now, this Atlanta Brave ball club is a very free-swinging ball club. When Chipper Jones is in there, that's over a 400 on base percentage. He likes to see a lot of pitches, and when you have that dynamic, it makes everybody else around you better.
Well, he's run the count to 3-1. Pettit fires in for a strike.
The other thing that Chipper Jones does is he brings a presence to the lineup and to the plate. He just, you know that the best hitter's up when he walks up to the plate.
Swung on and missed for strike 3. Pettit strikes out Chipper Jones. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. And back to that 4th inning cut by Andrew Jones. He got all of this one.
Well, Andrew Jones made an adjustment from last year to this year. Last year, 2004, he's standing up high in the strike zone, and his stride takes it down. Look how much his head moves forward and down. Earlier today, hits the home run. Much more spread with his legs. His head doesn't move nearly as much, giving him a much better view of the ball. That adjustment, that small adjustment from last year to this year, has paid huge dividends for Andrew Jones.
It went almost 420 feet as he takes outside for ball.
Well, you know what he's done in a nutshell is eliminated a lot of movement. And, you know, talking to Terry Pendleton, the Braves hitting coach, I said, how did you arrive at that? And he said, we were in the batting cage, and we said, hey, why don't we try and emulate, you know, our colleague who is going to be doing the game tonight, White Sox and Red Sox, Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza, very still, doesn't have a lot of movement. When you don't have movement, that eliminates the possibility for error. You know, you talk about a Gary Sheffield who's all over the place, but he can do it. But if you want to eliminate error and minimize it, you want to be still. And if you are strong enough to do it, as Andrew Jones has proven he can do it, you will have a lot of success.
Well, there was the pitch right there. He just looked like he would almost turn and drive the ball. Power comes from rotating the hips and seeing the ball. When he doesn't move as much, he's got a much better view of the ball and allows the energy to come through his hips to deliver the power instead of dropping down in the zone. And I think that's been a big part of it. And what they said is he's become much more patient at the plate, getting better pitches to hit. And when he does, he can hit it a long ways.
3-1 pitch due him here. And how about our colleague, Mike Piazza, as you suggest, Eric Harris? What a generous man to help us out at ESPN during the playoffs and help out Andrew Jones to get 51 home runs.
I think he did it unknowingly.
The 3-1. Tried to hold up. It's in for a strike. Full count on Andrew.
I mean, we can give him credit, but let's be honest here. We just can't give him undue credit.
Can't give Piazza too much credit, right?
No, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
Base is empty. 2 down. 4-3 Houston in the 6th inning. Pettit looking for a 1-2-3. It'd be his 2nd in a row. Fought off by Andrew Jones. Let's get downstairs to Tim Kirchin.
You know, if Andrew Jones wins a Gold Glove this year, and he should win a Gold Glove, he's going to join a very select group in baseball history. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., and Alex Rodriguez, the only players in history, 50 home runs in a Gold Glove season.
He's been in great company since the day he broke into the big leagues, as that one is fouled away. Of course, that World Series against the Yankees at 19 when he hit a pair of home runs. 7 consecutive Gold Gloves. Andrew tells the story of his days growing up where his father would take him down to the beach and hit him fly balls just off the surf where the wind would be whipping up to practice the art of catching wind-blown fly balls. Huge reason he does it so well.
Sure, you do that because if the ball's getting wet, you can't afford it to be a high price of baseballs.
On the beaches of Curacao. That one outside for ball 4. And Andrew Jones works a walk here with 2 down. On the topic of home runs and Braves who hit a whole lot of them, well, nobody did it better than the Hammer, the great Hank Aaron. But there's Andrew Jones, number 5 on the list.
That's some pretty good company right there. You're talking about some Hall of Fame ball players in Aaron and Matthews. And Jones, what you have to remember about Andrew Jones, no, he's not even 30 years old yet. You think he's been in the league. Well, he has been in the league for 10 years, but you think he's got to be about 33, 34 years old. He's 28 years old, and you know he's already got 10 years in.
And they played games this season where he was the oldest Atlanta Brave on the field. Talk about the transition of this organization with a lot of the young players. They played 18 rookies at some point or another with this Atlanta Brave team. There were times where 28-year-old Andrew Jones was the oldest Brave on the field.
Well, the guy at the bat is always the oldest Brave on the field.
Yeah.
The oldest man on the diamond without question. Julio Franco, he has struck out and walked today as he takes a breaking ball inside. Out of San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, second oldest player in postseason history at age 47.
47 and looking like that. Shoot, at 25 I didn't look like that.
Down low, 2-1.
You know, but the perseverance for Julio Franco, I mean, when he finished playing in the States, he's played in Japan. He's played in Taiwan. He played in Mexico. He was playing in Mexico. There aren't many 42-year-old players that will go to continue their career in Mexico, hoping to get back to the major leagues. That's where John Sherrill, the general manager for the Braves, found Franco when he brought him back, and he's been here for the last 4 years.
You know, and that's summer ball in Mexico, not winter ball, which is a lot different. I mean, that's paying the price.
Franco, obviously in the winter of his career. But look at this. Braves, age 24 and under on the postseason roster. Francoeur, McCann, Devine, McBride, Johnson, all under the age of 24. Julio Franco made his major league debut before those guys, those five, were even born.
You know, it's one thing to talk about the youth when you're talking about age, but they play with the maturity of a 28, 29-year-old, and the way they've been accepted and taken in by a John Smoltz, a Brian Jordan, a Chipper Jones. It's allowed these guys to fit in. And I spoke to Don Sutton, who does the broadcasting for TBS, and he said in his 40 years around baseball, he has never seen a better group of young guys, the way they handle things, the way they carry themselves, than this group that the Atlanta Braves have.
And Bobby Cox loves their energy. He said, you know, obviously they'll run through fire for you if you ask them to. And they've done it all summer. In there for strike 3. Pettit freezes another Brave. He strikes out 2 in the inning as he fans Julio Franco. A walk, 1 left. Still 4-3 Houston. Go to the 7th.
On this job, you notice things. Like this new Steak Fanatic pizza. It's a big hit with the guys.
Steak Fanatic pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Man fuel. Cool.
Hey, hurry up. Only 23 figurines left, Hank. They're statues.
They're statues.
Introducing Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza. Angus steak piled on even more steak smothered in cheese. Buy a medium for just $9.99 and heap on even more Angus steak for just $2. Hit the door. It's Domino's new Steak Fanatic Pizza.
So the Dodgers are down to their last out. Game 1 of the World Series. And look who's coming up. Kirk Gibson with 2 bad legs. You talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
With 100% whole grain, low fat, and fiber, the Breakfast of Champions brings out the champion in you.
The impossible has happened.
FedEx Ground will get these to Cleveland on Wednesday.
FedEx, aren't they a little pricey?
Ned, you're always wrong.
How am I always wrong?
Okay, let's review. Steely Dan is not one person. We get fringe benefits, not French benefits. James Dean is an actor. Jimmy Dean makes sausage. And you know what, Ned? It's not the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
So FedEx isn't too expensive? We don't get French benefits.
FedEx Ground. Reliability for less than you think.
More ASC certified master technicians, the top mechanics in the country, use Valvoline more than any other oil in their own cars.
Kenny, come to bed.
At Samuel Adams, hops are to beer what grapes are to wine.
Let's take a smell.
That's why our founder, Jim Cook, goes to Bavaria to hand select the best hops in the world. Most other brewers just call in their orders.
Only the best hops make the best tasting beer.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
The Astros up 4-3 over Atlanta going to the 7th inning, and fans join Major League Baseball in our efforts to rebuild the Gulf Coast. Support Habitat for Humanity by calling 1-800-HABITAT, logging on to MLB.com or Habitat.org. Andy Pettit leading off the frame against Hudson. Both pitchers really settling in over the last couple of innings. And in fact, Hudson has set down 9 consecutive Houston Astros. Biggio on deck. High fly, pretty well hit to left. Jordan going back. That's over his head. And it's up against the warning track and up over the fence for a double. Andy Pettit with a 2-base hit.
Well, and what's troubling about that is now you're allowing Berkman and Ensberg to possibly come up this inning. Ideally, you like to get the pitcher out, go after those 1 and 2 guys, not have to worry about the middle of the lineup. That pitch is down the middle. Pettit, being a good athlete, puts a good swing on it and drives it. But now you have to get the bullpen up. You have to think about what's going on, because you don't want to have guys on where Tim Hudson is facing Berkman and Ensberg.
Well, Andy Pettit, an .081 hitter on the year, only 5 hits, no extra base hits. But big players step up in big situations, and Pettit drives it over the left fielder's head.
Biggio pushing a bunt to first. Franco will sling it into the bag at first. Down to third moves Pettit on a sacrifice by Craig Biggio. And the little things the Astros have done awfully well today.
Well, and they're playing for a run here. I mean, they're telling you right now, Phil Garner is saying, I need that extra run. I can turn it over to my bullpen. I'm not going to play for a big inning. I'm not going to let Craig Biggio go up there and hit and just try and get a carousel going. That one run is very important.
How big is this number? Houston 69-19 when scoring 4 or more, and they're bidding for their 5th run of the day here in the 7th inning. Tavares takes up high for ball 1. He walked and scored back in the 3rd inning. He is an excellent bunter. Led the majors with 70 infield hits and 29 bunt singles. Now the Braves staff bedeviled him this season. He hit just 174 against Atlanta. Trying to break through here. He took a massive cut and came up empty.
Well, this situation now 1-1 count. You got Willie Tavares at home plate, who can bunt. Andy Pettit on third base, but the question is, do you want your starting pitcher sprinting home on a squeeze play, the potential for a collision at home plate?
Not only your starting pitcher, but possibly your best pitcher. And the last thing you do here is suicide squeeze. I mean, that would be unbelievable if Phil Garner put that on.
The 1-1 is up top for a ball. Tavares had an outstanding rookie season, as Hudson's up to 90 pitches. The first-year man leading all National League rookies in hits, runs, stolen bases, games played, and at-bats. He also chipped in with 10 outfield assists.
This is a big run right here for Tavares to try to get it in. I mean, this would be a huge difference. 2-run differential, much more significant.
2-2.
Well, and again, this is a situation where, you know, the Astros are a bit concerned about Tavares and his ability to drive the ball. You know he's going to hit something on the ground, and it's probably not going to be that hard hit. And again, this is an RBI situation, and this is where these things come into play, where if he could drive the ball, it'd give them a much better opportunity to score.
Tavares will strike out frequently, and that one's outside. He whiffed 103 times during the season.
See, I think they're a little deep in left field and center field for me. Tavares doesn't drive the ball. You got a 2-strike count, a little bit more defensive at the plate, even though it's 3-2. I'd be a little shallower, because on anything shallow, Andy Pettit's not going on a fly ball.
Now the wind blowing in, too. Here's the 3-2. Grounded right to the shortstop for call. Down on a knee, guns him down. Pettit has to hold, and there are 2 away.
Well, and this is just what we were talking about, is Tavares' inability to drive the ball, to hit it out of the infield. I mean, when there's nobody on, it's a great asset. You just beat the ball into the ground and you run like heck down to first base. But unfortunately for the Astros, Tavares has come up 2 times today with guys in scoring position. Now, this time he didn't get him, the previous time he walked. But that is something that he is going to have to develop, an ability to drive the ball over the course of his career.
Now, understanding that Tavares may not be that player just yet, do you want Biggio giving himself up on a sacrifice bunt in that situation to get him to third base, or do you want him to take a shot advancing Pettit from second to third with possibly getting a base hit to right field?
Well, and that's something we don't know. Did Phil Garner put that play on? You know, with a younger player, you would say, oh, obviously, you know, the manager put that play on. With Craig Biggio, you know, he may have been thinking, I'm going to do this on my own, try and be the good guy, get him over. But is it the smart move? Not necessarily so sure about that.
Well, Eric, you guessed that Hudson was pitching around Lance Berkman back in the 3rd inning by putting him on. In fact, walked him the first 2 times up. Now they're not even going to mess with him. They're going to put him on and walk him intentionally. That'll put runners at first and third. They'll go after Morgan Ensberg instead.
Well, very often managers will identify the guy they're just not going to let beat them in a situation. Berkman did hit 300 in the month of September with 11 homers. But Ensberg today has been poisoned. He's driven in some big runs so far. So it's interesting. Bobby Cox sticking with the plan, putting Berkman on and going after Ensberg.
Well, Berkman is not. Berkman is more of a patient hitter than Ensberg, and regardless, if Ensberg has gotten 3 or 4 hits today, you still, as you said, Steve, you identify a player prior to the series. This guy will not beat me. I go after Ensberg, righty versus righty. Much better matchup than Hudson versus Berkman.
But if he burns Hudson again, it will be for at least his 4th run batted in today. He has an RBI single in the first, a 2-run single in the 3rd. As an RBI waiting for him at third base here as he backs away on an up and in pitch for ball 1.
See, interesting on that pitch. We look at Ensberg's stance. He's wide open and he comes closing, moving his momentum back to the plate. Is that where you get that hitter out on an inside pitch?
Well, that's where I think he's susceptible. I mean, he's telling you right now that I have trouble hitting the inside pitch with a wide open stance. And with Tim Hudson throwing a sinker and the ball running in, it makes it that much more difficult. I'd throw him in all day long.
And he beat him again. Base hit to left field. In comes Pettit, and some breathing room for Pettit and the Astros, who lead it 5-3. They put Berkman on to get to Ensberg, and he's driven in 4 runs today for the Astros.
Well, and that's what you need for teams to be successful. You need complementary players. I mean, this pitch, they're set up outside. The ball's right down the middle. I mean, the idea on the first pitch was to go in off of the plate. You continue to pound a guy inside, inside, inside. A little surprised that they went back out over the plate. And when you do go back out over the plate with a sinker ball pitcher, a guy that runs the ball back, you run the risk of it just going right down the middle of the plate. And that's exactly what happened.
And Ensberg ends the afternoon of Tim Hudson. Here comes Bobby Cox to take away the baseball. That will do it for the right-hander. Joey Devine coming on to pitch. 5-3 Houston.
Guys, this is a Silverado half-ton crew. It has more horsepower and torque than Ford or Dodge. Paper flowers? Tin cans? Come on.
I love weddings.
Chevy Silverado, an American Revolution.
Say how do you do to the meat-normous omelet sandwich. Meat on top of meat on top of meat. The new meat-normous. Wake up with the king.
Verizon Broadband, the world's most advanced network, can make any online gamer's reflexes unbeatable. No matter who they are.
Hudson done after 6 2/3, responsible for 5 runs on 7 hits, plus a couple of men left behind on the bases for the 22-year-old right-hand rookie Joey Devine.
Oh, you have Joey Devine out of North Carolina State, first-round pick this year for the Atlanta Braves, pitching the College World Series, and now he's pitching in the League Division Series.
And Lane picking on the first pitch, loops it foul and out of play. He is 0 for 3 today. Devine 5'11", about 205 pounds. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, he became the first pitcher in Major League history to allow a grand slam in each of his first 2 career outings back in August against San Diego and then Chicago. That one hit him. Lane looking to check his swing, and it got him on the arm. Bobby Cox wants to argue this. So does the catcher Estrada. This will load up the bases. for Devine, who is back into his death zone where he gives up grand slams. Bobby Cox not real happy.
Now, if you're going to get, anytime there's a hit by pitch, you want somebody to earn that hit by pitch. What I mean by that is you want somebody wearing it. Nothing that hits the little part of the uniform or just nips a elbow or something. If somebody's going to get down to first base, especially if you're a pitcher, you want them to earn it. That means something in the ribs.
Boy, you are nasty.
You are, man.
No, that's you ask any pitcher, that's the worst thing. And they say, a lot of the guys, if you go down there like that and didn't earn it, the next time you might earn it.
Sound like you pitched for a living. Here's Palmeiro with the bases loaded, 2 down as he takes a ball. An Astro at every base, and they can bust it open right here. They have a run on the board. Andy Pettit started the inning with a double. He has scored. Now they're all filled up with Berkman, Ensberg, and Lane filling the bases. Outside 2-0.
Chipper ought to go in there and talk to him and calm him down, because this kid in this situation right now needs somebody to say, breathe, get yourself under control. Let's get back in the strike zone right now, because he's thinking about those 2 grand slams he's given up already. After he gave up the grand slams, they asked Bobby Cox, how are you going to use Devine after this? He said, well, probably not in bases loaded situations, but here we are. He's pitched himself into it. Now he needs to show he can get out of it.
The hitter asking for time, granted by Joe Brinkman as Palmeiro stepped out. 2 down. 5-3 Houston in the 7th inning. The left-hander McBride is quickly loosening up. Adam Everett would hit next. Right across for strike 2-1.
Well, and you see Palmeiro was taken all the way in that situation, and that's the difference. You have an experienced hitter at the plate. I mean, the pitcher right now, Joey Devine, he's got a lot of adrenaline going. First time in the big leagues, first year. Well, Palmeiro, many years, a lot of experience.
Fouls it back to the net, 2-2.
I'll tell you, watch his stuff, though. You understand why they took him in the first round. I mean, his fastball is electric the way it's running in there. Great movement on it.
A heater in the mid-90s. He's trying to put away Palmeiro and leave them loaded. Fly foul on a play to the left.
Well, and Palmeiro, one of those pesky hitters, too. Just goes up there, battles, will fight off good pitches. And as a pitcher, that gets frustrating. When you make good pitches and the hitter continues to foul them off or battle you, well, frustrating.
Swinging a high fly ball right field. Deep. Francoeur racing back to the track. He's there. He's got it. It almost happened again to Joey Devine. But Francoeur is the man on the spot up against the wall. Palmeiro just missed a grand slam, which would have put this game away. The Astros leave them loaded. They settle for 1 and leave it 5-3.
The Ford Store, Morgan Hill, your truck destination, where every vehicle is clearly marked with our everyday low discounted price. No hassle, no haggle. Do the math and save big on F-150, F-250, and F-350. Explorer, Expedition, Focus, and Mustang. With over 530 vehicles to choose from, including 180 F-Series and 120 SUVs. Get huge factory rebates and thousands of dollars in discounts clearly marked on every vehicle. South Bay, the Ford Store, Morgan Hill, 101 at Dunn Avenue. East Bay, the Ford Store, San Leandro, Marina Boulevard off 880.
The NHL is back. NHL Center Ice is your ticket to get inside the NHL with up to 40 games a week outside your local area. Don't miss the intensity of increased rivalry, great new rules, and no more ties. The shootout is on NHL Center Ice. Order by October 31st and get NHL Center Ice for $129, $30 off the regular season price. When it comes to sports, we're on your team.
One of the great things about playing baseball is it's okay to get dirty, and your mom won't care. Who wants to get dirty?
Boys and Girls Clubs is the official charity of Major League Baseball.
Now we're looking like ball players.
You know, pitchers like to get dirty too. Geez, a rosin bag.
Together, they create a positive place for kids.
Hey, who got my uniform dirty?
Don't worry, the mom will wash it.
This fall, we're taking every deal to the red line during Honda's full throttle clearance event. Get 6.9% financing on every new Honda motorcycle, ATV, and personal watercraft. Even better, you'll find great factory-to-dealer incentives on select models. And get 24 months of Honda protection on all ATVs at $300 value for only $69. It's the Honda Full Throttle Clearance Event. Get to your Honda dealer now, because it ends fast.
It remains close in Atlanta with Houston on top 5-3 going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Andy Pettitte still on the mound for the Astros. Let's take a look at how we got here. Early offense for Houston. They got a quick run against Tim Hudson, the right-hander. Craig Biggio with a single is started. Then after a walk, Morgan Ensberg would single. And Hudson was just wild throughout his 6 2/3 innings. Ensberg tagging him for a total of 3 hits on the day. And he's already driven in 4 runs. And quickly, the Astros got on the scoreboard and had a 3-1 lead. But then Atlanta bouncing back. Chipper Jones with a solo home run as he went out to right field off Andy Pettitte. Then the other half of the Jones boys, Andrew Jones with a 2-run clout to center field in the 4th inning. Frank Gore just made a long running catch, however, with the bases loaded to keep this one close, with Devine getting bailed out by his right fielder. Devine was allowed 2 grand slams in just about 3 weeks of Major League service. So here's our game summary as we take it to the bottom of the 7th inning. Just 4 hits for the Braves. Biggio with a couple of hits. Pettitte has been very solid with 6 strikeouts, although he has allowed a couple of home runs. Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones with big flies, and Hudson is gone after 6 2/3. Pettitte still out there.
Well, Pettitte has battled all day long, and he's throwing a great game outside of really 2 pitches that, both the Jones boys got a hold of. He's pitched an unbelievable game.
Here's Frank Gore, first pitch swinging, pops it up. Berkman coming in along the line and makes the catch for the out, 1 away. And Brian Jordan up next.
Despite only having 4 hits, though, for the Atlanta Braves, they have to feel like, it just seems like it's been an onslaught of base runners for the Astros, but we're only 2 runs behind. We're in this game. We have the ability to hit some home runs, hit it out of the ballpark, and get back in this. They're not out of this game just yet, but they need to get some base runners and start to get people moving and get into the bullpen of the Houston Astros.
Yeah, they were about 12 feet away from being dead and gone in this thing, but Frank Gore hauled it in on the warning track to save Devine. Jordan on the day is grounded out to 3rd. He's also hit into a 6-4-3 double play.
The thing with the Braves, though, is they have not hit the ball well. I mean, you take away those 2 home runs, it's not as if they're lining out or hitting the ball well. Pettitte has just kept them off balance the entire day.
Pettitte falling behind here, 2-0. He's walked 2 men this afternoon. And now 3-0 to Jordan.
Well, what Andy Pettitte does, and the reason he's successful, is he hits his spots most typically with his pitches, and it can be multiple pitches. He'll throw the cutter, the fastball, the breaking ball. He hits his spots. We saw Tim Hudson all over the place. When pitchers miss their spots, they can get hit.
A couple of baseball notes. Jim Leyland coming out of managerial retirement to become the new skipper of the Detroit Tigers. Steve, a little
That's interesting.
surprised?
I mean, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, he wanted to get back in. I thought he might want to get with a team that was sooner to have a chance to win, but that's home for him. He grew up in that organization.
A terrific baseball mind as Lane makes the catch. 2 down. Well, they didn't believe the barrier could be broken. They didn't know Roger Bannister. The inspirational story of Bannister's quest to break the 4-minute mile. It's 4 minutes on ESPN2. Original movie Thursday at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Johnny Estrada 0 for 2. He has struck out twice against Pettitte. The switch hitting catcher has had a rough season aside from a 2-game suspension in July for his verbal altercation with an umpire. He went on the DL twice. The second time for back trouble in August. He was knocked almost unconscious in a home plate collision by Darren Erstad. And he is a quick out here in the 7th. Pettit sailing through this frame on just 7 pitches. He gets them 1, 2, 3. It's on to the 8th. The Astros up by 2.
4 minutes. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Sometimes you just have to slow things down. That's why for Budweiser Select, we carefully handpick the finest 2-row barley malt. Then we take the time to brew Budweiser Select longer, so you get a beer with light beer stats and a distinct bold taste that finishes clean. Enjoy the taste. Be selective.
My brother learned to read in 1st grade. I learned before kindergarten. I use the computer. Now I write my own books. One is about an elephant with amnesia and a toad who thinks he's a frog. I also have a scanner, so I can add pictures. That way, even my brother can understand.
Start something literary. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
Here's to performance that exceeds expectations. Evergreen Investments.
There is an evil so powerful, even evil fears it. Apocalypse is upon us. In X-Men Legends 2, you must unite sworn enemies, the X-Men and the Evil Brotherhood. Master their mutant powers, or all will perish. X-Men Legends 2, Rise of Apocalypse, rated T for teen, now with online gameplay.
For some, recovery is a long road. For men, they reach for revitalizing lotion Q10. Because Q10 replenishes skin to feel healthy, firm, and fit. Especially when you don't. Nivea for men, more evolved skincare.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series is presented by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure, the king of beers.
From Atlanta, Game 1 of this National League Division Series. A 5-3 Houston lead getting into the late stages. We're in the top of the 8th. And Adam Everett to lead things off against a new Brave pitcher, the veteran right-hander Chris Reitsma. He works a lot for Bobby Cox. He's been battling leg injuries most of the season. And he misses up and in for ball 1.
Well, and with the addition of Kyle Farnsworth, it's allowed Reitsma to go into that setup role, and Chris Reitsma is going to come at you with a good 90-mile-an-hour, 92, 93-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's got a great changeup. That's his out pitch.
Everett takes a strike. He's 0 for 3 today. Of course, the Astros are getting close to that Lidge bridge, that 1 inning to get to their superb closer, Brad Lidge. It's Wheeler starting to loosen up. Although it's going to be interesting to see if Garner elects to keep Pettit in the game for the 8th inning. Especially, Steve, after a 7-pitch 7th.
Well, that's right. Andy Pettit, 96 pitches right now. But the Atlanta Braves just put it back in Phil Garner's court to say, you know what? You now have to consider sending Pettit back out there. 7 pitches to retire the 3 hitters for the Braves. If you're not going to hit, at least make Pettit work. Get him out of the game so you can take advantage of somebody in the pen.
Well, and not necessarily just for today's game. This is a series. They're going to come back tomorrow night. Maybe you get Wheeler or Qualls in the game an inning earlier. Have them throw some pitches just so maybe you don't have to see him tomorrow night, or Lidge maybe have to throw an inning and a third. The whole thing is not just predicated on what's happening right now.
Little looper over the head of Giles. That's going to drop down for a base hit for Adam Everett. He's on in the 8th. So a leadoff single for the shortstop. Well, time now to take a look at our pitching summary. It's brought to you by Yellow Book. A look at the starters. Hudson gone after 6 2/3. Pettit at the moment still in there with 96 pitches.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Brad Ausmus here. If he gets on, then Phil Garner has a decision to make. Do I send Pettit up there, give him another inning, or do I offensively try and put another run or 2 on the board? I think the easy answer to that is I've got to put some more runs on the board. I'd take Pettit out.
But it's interesting to see here if he sacrificed bunts, then I think he is going to probably pinch hit, I would assume, to be able to try to drive the run in.
And for the moment, Pettit has come to the on-deck circle. How can you take Pettit out of the game? He's one of their best hitters today. He's dropped down a beautiful sac bunt. He's also doubled and scored. And forget about his 081 season average. He's done a very good job at the bat
You
today.
figure he's just run his luck right now. You've already got a base hit and a bunt out of him. Don't go to the well too often.
I mean that tongue-in-cheek, of course. But
oh, I thought you were serious.
Well, he has looked good up there today. You have to give him that. Even you hitters cross for a strike on Ausmus.
I think Pettit's going to stay in. I think he's going to hit. You got a 2-run lead, and I know you have Wheeler out there, but if I have Andy Pettit on top of his game, I want Andy Pettit pitching in that 8th inning instead of Dan Wheeler to get me to Lidge, because you can always bring Lidge in if Pettit gets 1 out or 2 outs and he gets you at least a little further into the game. If I don't have to hand it to the bridge to somebody else, I want to hand it to Brad Lidge coming out there.
The Astros trying to gain a little more wiggle room here, up 5-3 in the 8th in front of 40,590 at Turner Field. That's about 10,000 below capacity. Hit toward the hole softly. Will it squeak through? There's Giles. Great sliding stop. Close. Did not get him. And Ausmus is on with a base hit. Everett down to second. Giles did everything humanly possible to keep Ausmus from reaching first base.
That was a great play by Marcus just to keep the ball in the infield and prevent Everett from then going to third base, where then you have a different issue. Now, with first and second, an obvious sacrifice situation, you leave Pettit up in this situation, because if you were to pinch it, all you'd have the guy do is bunt. So you keep him in the game, you allow him to pitch that 8th inning, he bunts the guys over.
I'll tell you what, Julio Franco doesn't stretch on this one to try to catch the ball. If he stretches toward Giles to be able to take that throw, he's out at first base.
But he's 47. How far can he stretch?
He can stretch. I'm telling you, if he stretches, he's out.
Here's Pettit to bunt, drops it down. Chipper Jones charging, looked at third. He'll get the shore out over to first base, and there are now 2 men in scoring position as Pettit once again drops down a sacrifice bunt for the 2nd time today.
Well, good job by Andy Pettit right there, getting the runners over, helping his own cause, putting them in a position to score more runs. But going back to that play that Steve was talking about with Franco at first base, I mean, there's no question he didn't stretch at all. And the tendency sometimes as a first baseman is you think, well, the runner's not going to get down there that quickly. I don't need to stretch. He didn't know the speed of the runner. He didn't know that he was sprinting the entire way down. That is clearly a mistake by Julio Franco.
And now the intentional pass of Biggio will load up the bases. And this will be for the 3rd or 4th time today for Houston. In the 3rd inning, they left them loaded. In the 7th inning, they left them loaded. So they've had opportunities to blow it wide open. And now they'll be filled up for the first-year man, Willie Tavares.
And getting back to that Franco play, I mean, that is not uncommon for a first baseman. I know over the course of your career, you're going to do things like that. I know I did that a number of different times. It happens.
Hey, take a look at this. Tavares is being pulled back as Biggio takes ball 4, and it's Jeff Bagwell coming up with the bases loaded and an opportunity to really blow the doors open on Atlanta. Bagwell, who's only going to serve as a pinch hitter and nothing more in the playoffs. That ailing shoulder and all the problems he has had with that, he can't throw the ball 20 feet anymore. But he is swinging a pretty good bat in pinch hit roles down the stretch here for Phil Gardner, and that's the only reason he's on the roster.
Well, Jeff Bagwell is a 2-player move, meaning he can't hit and then stay in the game to play the field. So Phil Gardner was going to have to wait for the right spot. In this situation, he's willing to make it a 2-player move because a big base hit right here can really stretch out the lead. Absolutely the right move. Tavares has struggled driving the ball. We've talked about it all day. He hasn't been able to drive in the runs. Maybe Bagwell can.
Well, and as you said, David, the reason he's on the roster is for this situation. You don't use him in this situation, there's no reason for him to be there. Why did you even put him on the roster?
Well, they missed 115 games after shoulder surgery. He takes a strike on the outside corner.
And he's done a good job of getting some big base hits, but talking to Jeff before the game, he said this is the most difficult thing he's ever had to do, because not only are you coming in where you haven't played and you're not fresh, but you're facing top of the line pitchers in crucial situations. And for somebody that plays every inning of every game, then to have to sit and then just be called upon to go out there and be successful, well, they talk about it being the hardest job in baseball, and Jeff said he agrees with it.
Well, watching Bagwell in batting practice and in selected bats down the stretch, the power isn't there like it used to be. But the base hit is into left field. A clean single to bring in a run to make it 6-3. So Garner finds the perfect spot to use Bagwell. He rips one by Chipper Jones. The owner's delighted, and the Astros are up 3 in the 8th inning.
Well, this is an off-speed pitch here. A breaking ball that actually has Jeff Bagwell fooled, but he's able to keep his hands through the ball, keep the bat going through the strike zone, able to put good wood on it and get it by Chipper Jones. I mean, he had him fooled, and sometimes as a pitcher, you can make the correct pitch, but you don't get the outcome you'd like.
Boy, for Phil Garner, the mileage of that decision right there for the rest of this series for this team. You use Bagwell in exactly the right situation. He's a leader. He's on the roster partly because of his leadership ability, and it works. The credibility for Garner and now for Bagwell goes a long way as they continue to make critical strategic decisions during the course of these games. Guys are saying, you know what, our skipper knows what he's doing.
Foster, the left-hander, will be brought in here to face Lance Berkman and turn him around. Bobby Cox out to make the move. Bagwell all smiles. The veterans out on the bases, Bagwell, Biggio, and Ausmus. They have led the Astros to a 6-3 lead in Game 1.
The Major League Baseball Division Series continues tonight at 7 on ESPN.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Everyone sits where he sat before. You wear the same unwashed jersey. Old Lambeau sports the bandana, and the bubble heads are in place. Your cleanly shaved head is rubbed before all crucial third down plays, and you are eating hearty, beefy, mouth-watering Campbell's Chunky Chili in microwavable bowls. That's how you won last week. Don't mess with success. Campbell's Chunky Chili in microwavable bowl.
Whoa. Hang on. I'm sorry, dude. It's not gonna work out. Esteban.
You know, thousands of youngsters long to express their hearts through the gift of music. Hello, this is Esteban with some exciting news.
You gonna teach Dwayne how to play?
No, I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Nicorette Fresh Mint is different. It's the first and only stop-smoking gum coated with a cool burst of mint flavor. In fact, consumers prefer the taste 2-to-1 over any stop-smoking gum. It tastes great and fights cravings fast. Nicorette Fresh Mint. Start chewing, start quitting.
Game 2 of the Red Sox and White Sox coming up on ESPN. If the Braves and Astros goes past 7 o'clock, you can watch the start of this game on ESPN2. More baseball on the way.
Meanwhile, here in Atlanta, Game 1, the Astros 6, the Braves 3. Another big threat for Houston. They have the bases loaded, about to face the 4th Brave pitcher of the day in John Foster, the left-hander. Bagwell ripping a single out of the reach of Chipper Jones to drive in a run, coming off the bench in a pinch.
Well, Foster's been kind of the go-to lefty in the bullpen here. His 63rd appearance on the season, 62 in the regular season. Not a big strikeout guy, command and control, contact pitcher.
And Berkman, for a change, now batting right-handed, is finally going to get something to hit. He's been walked 3 times today, the last time intentionally in the 7th inning.
Well, in this, you turn Berkman around to the right side, and he doesn't have the power that he does from the left side. Hit over 20 home runs from the left side, only 3 from the right side this year.
He's flied to left the one time he was allowed to swing it today, and it's outside to make it 1-1. Every Astros player has reached base. They've had 18 base runners today, and have done it with men in scoring position, 4 for 9 in these spots. Although they've left them loaded a couple of times, it's filed away by Berkman.
But with that many base runners, a lot of singles, a lot of walks, not a lot of thump, and so it's only a 6-3 score. you would think 18 base runners, this thing might be getting away a little bit. Atlanta just has to do damage control, find a double play ball, get out of this thing, and get back in the dugout, see if they can't score some runs.
And Phil Garner saying, I've been one swing away from blowing it open all day. And another chance. Cut on and missed, and Berkman strikes out swinging. 2 men out.
Well, this Foster just comes with a good hard fastball and gets it right by Berkman. A little bit up in the zone. Berkman, good hard swing, but not as good from the right side. I mean, he hit pretty close for the same average, but does not display the power, and historically it's been a much better hitter from the left side than the right.
Well, here comes that man again, the unanimous MVP of the Houston Astros this season, Morgan Ensberg. He's already driven in 4 runs, all on singles. He's gone 3 for 4. Of course, just yesterday, Reggie Sanders of the St. Louis Cardinals had a 6 RBI day. The Astros record for RBIs in a postseason game is 5 by Carlos Beltran against Atlanta last year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Ensberg's beating him today on some fastballs. You see Foster going to the breaking ball. Morgan Ensberg is a dead pull hitter. He starts with that stance open, closes, but he's pulling pitches on the outer part of the plate. Of his hits this year, 90 went to left field, 13 went to right field. If he's hitting the ball to right field, it's a mistake. He's looking for something he can pull.
Down into the dirt, 36 home runs, 101 runs batted in. In a season they desperately needed somebody like Ensberg to step up and deliver those kind of numbers, with Bagwell unavailable and Beltran and Kent having left the Houston Astros. He's hit 3 career grand slams. Here's the 2-1 from Foster. Ball 3. And now he'll get something to hack at.
Well, he will, and because he's in a situation where it's 3-1, he's still got to be selective. Don't just get up there and think, oh, just because Foster throws me a strike, I've got to swing. It's still got to be a pitch that he can drive. Don't swing at it just because it's a strike.
He cuts and misses, 3-2.
Well, he came back with a pretty good fastball. With a 2-1 pitch, he bounced his fastball to go to 3-1. That would worry you, but he comes back. And he's been able to run that fastball by some of these hitters, as Ensberg looks like he was trying to hit one way out.
Bases loaded yet again for Houston. Fouled away, and another mighty swing by Ensberg.
Well, the old reliever Randy Myers, great left-handed reliever back in the late 80s, early 90s. When he'd get into a situation with the bases loaded, a 3-2 count, he would usually throw a ball and use the hitter's aggressiveness against him, thinking that what hitter is going to want to walk when the crowd's on their feet and it's a bases loaded situation.
Check swing, and it's low for ball 4. They appealed. No swing, says Marvin Hudson, and the run is in. A bases loaded walk to make it 7-3 Houston. Ensberg with a patient look there at the plate, and he picks up his 5th RBI today.
Well, he was patient. I'm just surprised at the pitch selection in that situation. I mean, Foster, hasn't shown that he's got great control with a lot of his pitches. In that situation, get beat with your best pitch. It's already a 6-3 ball game.
Here's Jason Lane. That one underneath the strata of the backstop. Here comes another run. Biggio in to score. That makes it 8-3. And the runners move up to 2nd and 3rd as well. A wild pitch. And the inning is unraveling on Cox and Atlanta.
Well, all day the Braves were bending but not breaking. But right here you see another breaking ball down. Estrada doesn't shift over and stay down on the ground. He lifts up the ball, kicks off the shin guard, and goes to the backstop. Now they're going to walk.
And this will be the 3rd intentional pass called for by Bobby Cox today, the 2nd one in the inning. This will reload the bases for Houston. Their merry-go-round continues here in Division Series Game 1. Orlando Palmeiro will step in a moment, and he'll be the 9th man to hit in this inning, which so far is a 3-run 8th for Houston. They lead it 8-3. And it's Wheeler warming up in the bullpen.
Now, interesting decision now for Phil Garner. Do you leave Pettit in? You started that thought or anything else? I mean, or do you take your chance, go to Wheeler, go to Lidge, and save the inning for the next time for Andy Pettitte?
I saved the inning. Pettitte's out as far as I'm concerned. I had him. I didn't know if I wanted him to hit, but he's out.
Palmeiro with a swing and a miss. On the day, he has walked, been hit by a pitch, grounded out and flied out. That shot we had of Andy Pettitte looked like a man who was finished for the day with the coat on.
Well, and as we've discussed, it's not just about today's game. It's about the series.
Little looper toward left coming in. Jordan, will he get there? No, it drops down for a hit. 2 runs will score. And indeed, the Astros have busted it wide open in Atlanta. They lead it 10-3. Very similar to what they did last year in shucking the ghosts of all those playoff disappointments in the past against Atlanta. They came in here and smoked the Braves, and they're doing it again here in 2005.
Well, and if there's anything the Braves can hang their hat on right now is that this happened late. If this would have happened earlier in the game, the Astros would have been putting runs on the board. It would have really depleted this bullpen and taxed this Atlanta Brave team. Fortunately for them, it's late. You know, if there is something fortunate to look at in this game.
A 5-run 8th inning against the Atlanta bullpen. And we have yet another pitching change. That's it for Foster. He gets knocked around. 10-3 Houston.
People everywhere are experiencing a breakthrough. Fullness from a value menu.
Please, thank you. I have an announcement. I'm full!
Taco Bell's Big Bell Value Menu, featuring the half-pound beef combo burrito with double the beef. To keep your stomach and your wallet full, think outside the bun.
Introducing the all-new Chevy Impala. Available with a powerful 303 horsepower small block V8 that delivers a remarkable 28 miles per gallon highway. It's a whole new animal. Chevy Impala, an American revolution.
Trimming a tree on game day, you say? With the NFL on Sprint, I still get the play-by-play.
Leaving this tree isn't something I'd chance, so I enjoy stats from my perch on this branch.
The boss asked us to prune the greenery, so I listen to highlights while I take in the scenery.
Should your next climb up a pine make you quake?
Enjoy what great bedfellows, trees, and football make!
Exclusive NFL content, only from the new Sprint.
Your SUV is designed to go off-road, but sometimes the off-road comes to you. Introducing the new Goodyear Forterra with silent armor technology, made with SUV drivers in mind. A layer made with Kevlar means the Forterra is tough and rugged, and extra cushioning means the Forterra rides quietly and comfortably. The new Goodyear Forterra with silent armor technology. Go confidently on the wings of Goodyear.
The guy's ready to bat. David Ortiz and the Red Sox. Game 2 of the White Sox and Red Sox will begin on ESPN2. Now back to Atlanta.
And the Braves certainly know how the Red Sox felt yesterday when they were thrashed at the hands of the Chicago White Sox. Here it's Houston 10 and Atlanta 3 with Adam Everett, the hitter. He's the man who started this inning. He's batting for the second time here in the 8th. He started it with a base hit. Jim Brower coming out of the bullpen for Bobby Cox now. Braves pitching has been a rumor, allowing 10 earned runs, 8 walks, 3 of those intentional. They've hit 2 batters and delivered a wild pitch. Andy Pettitte, on the other hand, has been superb, throwing a 4-hitter for Houston.
Well, it really has been a tale of 2 different outcomes, 2 different pitchers. I mean, for the Braves, there's nothing worse than beating yourself. You know, and to go out there and Tim Hudson to have a game like he did today where he was on the tightrope, he just didn't have his good stuff. You know, Pettitte has been phenomenal. Like I said, outside of 2 pitches, he's been great.
And when you play the Astros, who don't have a lot of thump in their lineup, you want to force them to put the ball in play. Throw strikes because it's going to stay in the ballpark. And with your quality defense, you should be able to make the plays. They gave him too many free passes today, and it's come back to haunt them.
The Astros, and yet another walk here as Everett takes ball 4, the 9th free pass delivered by the Braves. The Astros scoring almost as many runs so far today as they did Tim Kirkshin all season long in a season series against them.
Also keep in mind, guys, the Braves are not a good comeback team. They're the only team in the National League this year that hasn't won a game in which it trailed by more than 3 runs. And right now they're 7 runs behind.
10-3 lead here. The base is loaded up again. Stop me if you've heard that before with the Astros batting. Here's Ausmus. He had a single and a run scored already in this inning. And he takes a strike.
Well, the Braves were playing with fire all game long. A lot of base runners. And sooner or later, you know, if you keep getting guys on base, sooner or later something's going to happen. Someone's going to make a mistake. You get a wild pitch. You get a hit batter. Something's going to happen. You're going to end up giving up runs. And that's what's happened today.
Foul tip. That got a piece of the catcher, Estrada, who's had a lot of injury difficulty this season. Doesn't need any more here. It's 0-2.
You know, and just going back to this inning, the biggest play of this inning is Julio Franco not stretching. You know, if he stretches, you've got an out at first base, a runner on second, and Andy Pettitte coming to the plate.
Right.
You know, and so instead of possibly, you know, Andy Pettitte gets out, you got 2 outs, a guy on second. You know, then you do with Biggio, maybe he doesn't pinch hit Bagwell. I mean, that at the time it doesn't seem big, but that thing has come back to bite him.
0-2, waved down and missed for strike 3, and that inning for the Braves mercifully over. But a big frame for the Astros. They score 5 times and do bust it open. Up now 10-3.
An easy way to experiment with color before you paint? Benjamin Moore calls them color samples. I call them color selection simplified. With 260 designer colors, it was easy to go from here to my wall. Thanks to Benjamin Moore, I found the perfect color. Color samples are available only at your local Benjamin Moore store, where you get the expert advice and personalized attention you can't get at a warehouse home center.
To find a participating retailer near you, call 1-866-5-COLOR-5.
What you wish you could do in real life, now you can do at VX.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
Round up the best players the game has ever seen. Invite the largest field in history. Throw $53 million in the pot. And you've got the main event begins Tuesday at 8 on ESPN.
First base, $58. Second base, 630 pesos. Third base, 300,000 yen. Home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Fan of the game, wherever there's a game.
Tonight, the postseason tripleheader continues. Canerco and Company got it done at Game 1. Boston looks to bounce back in Game 2 at 7. Then, Yankees, Angels, Game 2 at 10. The Major League Baseball Division Series continues tonight at 7 on ESPN.
It's Game 1 of the National League Division Series presented by Budweiser. And from Atlanta, the Houston Astros are off to the races. They've built up a 10-3 lead over the Braves as we go to the home half of the 8th inning. A number of changes here. Most notably on the hill for Houston, they're going to go to Dan Wheeler, so that's it for Andy Pettitte. 7 excellent innings, gives up 3 runs, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, and in line for the win. And Pete Orr coming off the bench for Bobby Cox to pinch hit. Eric Bruntlett also takes over in center field, as Tavares had come out previously, so Bruntlett straight away. Pete Orr, good speed. He can fly, left-hand hitter out of Richmond Hill, Ontario, Canada. And with a name like Orr coming out of Canada, you better wear number 4. And he does. Palmeiro closes and gets to it. 1 man out in the 8th. We take a look now at who's left on the bench, presented by ING. The switch hitter Benedict, along with Johnson, Langerhans, LaRoche, and McKenna. A lot of youngsters there on Bobby Cox's bench right now.
A lot of youngsters, a lot of left-handed bats with Andy Pettitte on the mound starting the game. Bobby Cox had Brian Jordan, Julio Franco, the right-hand bats in the lineup. So a lot of young lefties down there. And young players coming off the bench tend to be a little over-aggressive and not really the kind of guys to give you quality at bats.
For call on the day, Quiet at the top of the order. He is 0 for 3, including a strikeout looking at the hands of Pettit in the 3rd inning.
You know, but this is maybe where you get those young guys in there. You know, the first game appears to be out of reach. You know, maybe you need them later on in the series. You want to get those jitters out of the way today.
Bobby Cox says at times he has approached his young guys like grandkids. Bobby's 64. His own sons are 39 and 40. His youngest daughter's 23. His youngest girl is older than most of the rookies. Fouled away on a big swing by for call. 1-2.
Well, Bobby Cox has done a tremendous job here with these young players, and to a man, as you said earlier, they all love him because he always has their back, and he makes every one of them feel like. I talked to Johnny Estrada. He said, you know, if you're 0 for 20, he makes you feel like you're 15 for 20. Keeps pumping you up, giving you opportunities to succeed, and they end up doing it for him.
Little blooper. That's going to find a home in left field. A soft single for call, but he's on for the first time today. A 1-out single. Let's go to the studio and John Buchagras for more on the White Sox Red Sox.
Just want to remind those White Sox Red Sox fans waiting for the game. It'll start on ESPN2. There's Frank Thomas watching Paul Konerko. White Sox bashed the ball in game 1. David Wells against Mark Burley in game 2.
And later on tonight, the Yankees and the Angels on ESPN at 10 o'clock from the West Coast. The Yankees up 1-0. Marcus Giles eyeballs a strike.
You know, we talked earlier, you seem to think that it was still a must-win for the White Sox. I just think the White Sox have the pitching depth that the Red Sox can't equal. They have the depth in the bullpen, and they're baseball's best road team. I think they won't care if they have to go into Fenway Park and try to beat the Red Sox.
Well, I mean, I agree that, you know, they do have some of those things where they are the best road team. But at the end of the day, if you're the Chicago White Sox and you have a chance to put them away 2-0 and then go into Boston, you know, you're much better served. You go 1-1. That's all Boston wanted to do coming into Chicago. They didn't feel like they had to go 2-0. They come to Chicago, go 1-1. They feel like, hey, we did what we needed to accomplish. Now let's take it back to Fenway.
Now, from a player's perspective, the Red Sox got pummeled yesterday. The White Sox pounded them into the ground. And right now, you know, we're in a situation here now in a 10-3 game. The team that gets beaten significantly, if this, you know, who knows how this ends up, but you get beaten that bad, how does it impact you before you go into the next day?
Well, it doesn't matter for much, except if that first or second inning, the other team has the momentum. And if that if the next game you don't get off to a good start and you're the team that's been beaten, then it starts to go, hey, look, this might be a snowball going downhill real fast. It will be important for the teams that got beat in the first game of the series and that got beat handily to come out and make the first strike in game 2.
Inside got him and also got the umpire. So a double hit there on that pitch. Got a piece of Giles and Joe Brinkman. Hit batsman, runners at first and second for Atlanta with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Dan Wheeler's got a good two-seam fastball. They're trying to run it up in the zone. It just tails in on Giles, runs in on his hands. He just can't get out of the way and takes his base. That's Wheeler's bread and butter, though. He runs that two-seam fastball. He's got great movement on his fastball. But sometimes he runs it up, and it starts it inside. It breaks in on the hands of the hitter, and it can bite you.
Now, I understand Wheeler coming in because Phil Garner wants to get him some work, get him acclimated to everything. But what he doesn't want to have happen is Wheeler have a 30-some-odd pitch inning or a 40-some-odd pitch inning, because then you can't use him for tomorrow, or if you do use him, he may be a bit tired.
Chipper Jones in, a home run. He's grounded out and struck out today, make him 1 for 3. 2 on, 1 out. As Chipper looked to check, and it's in there for a strike anyway. 10 runs on 11 hits for Houston. The big inning was the 8th. The top of this frame, and they scored 5 times off a succession of Atlanta relievers. The Braves bullpen just might be that Achilles heel here in the playoffs of 2005. Up and away for a ball on Chipper. Andrew Jones up next. Both of them have homered. The Rocket ready to go tomorrow. Chatting up Roy Oswalt there. The big 3 for Houston. And they'll go in succession. Pettit, the Rocket, then Roy Oswalt, the 20-game winner. That's a strike.
You know, we talked about the Braves bullpen, and, you know, they went with 11 pitchers for their roster in the series where the Astros went with 10, and I think that's really indicative of the confidence level that Bobby Cox has with his pitchers. He has to mix and match and look for situations. He needs more personnel in order to manage the relief innings at the end of the game than Phil Garner does.
Well, and it also has something to do with the starters and their ability to go deep into the game.
1-2 fly to deep dead center. Brundtland backing up on the run to the track, and it's off the wall. It bounces back to him. How about this foot race? Foucault coming on in. Giles was right behind him. That's an RBI double for Chipper Jones, his second RBI of the day. That makes it 10-4. And very nearly a 3-run homer.
Well, Chipper swinging the bat well, but this is what the Braves envision, what they're going to need if they expect to win this series. It's not just Chipper Jones hitting the ball well. It's Marcus Giles getting on base and Foucault getting on base. Foucault, the first time he's been on base today. Giles coming up, then you have to go after Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones, you know, swinging it from both sides of the plate. Again, this is going back to, you know, the Dan Wheeler coming in. You didn't want to have this happen. You hope for a 1-2-3 inning, get him ready for tomorrow.
Wells and Gallo both loosening up. I think Chipper thought he had one there with the wind blowing in. The way he followed through on that swing, I believe he thought he had that 3-run homer. The wind really knocked it down.
Well, it did. I think you're right. I think that with Phil Garner, I mean, this is a headache now because now you've spent Wheeler. You're going to try to nurse him through this inning, but now you have to get another pitcher in to try to get you through the 8th inning and hopefully get that guy to take you through the 9th. So you've got some issues just because you're right. Tomorrow is just as important as today because as we're talking about the White Sox and Red Sox, if the Astros can win tomorrow going back home with Roy Oswalt on the mound, it's a big advantage for the Astros.
Well, here comes the MVP candidate, Andrew Jones. He's already cracked a 2-run homer today. He takes the breaking ball in there for a strike. Now, if he does it again, if he knocks one over the fence here, this is going to be a 3-run game. Runners at second and third. 51 home runs during the season for Andrew. He had 3 of them after the first 26 games. That's all. That's a strike. Another look at his 4th inning blast.
Well, on this pitch, the breaking ball inside, and Andrew Jones keeps his hands inside, just as Steve Phillips alluded to. When he's going well, he keeps his hands inside. He drove that ball over the left center field wall. Behind 0-2 to Wheeler, who strikes him out on the swing and a miss. 2 gone in the Atlanta 8th.
All right, threw him a little slider there, breaks it off the outer part of the plate. And for Andrew, he's pulling off the ball. That pitch was beyond his bat. He didn't swing over or under it. He pulled off. That pitch was beyond where his bat could cover the plate.
Well, I think he was forced to swing at that. Joe Brinkman called the pitch. It appeared to be off the plate. Andrew didn't like it for strike 2. That expands the hitter's zone.
2 down, 2 on for Franco. He is 0 for 2. He has struck out twice and taken ball 4. 275 during the regular season for Franco. Jeff Francoeur hoping for a chance to hit the rookie. He was fighting for the National League Rookie of the Year. Probably with Howard and Tavares waiting in the on-deck area. The 1-0 from Wheeler is taken for a strike. A pair of game 2s tomorrow as the division series continues. Padres Cardinals and Astros Braves. And coming up on ESPN2 will be the Red Sox and the White Sox. That's where they will be on ESPN2 to start, and then back to ESPN as soon as this game finishes up from Atlanta. Check swing, and it's inside. So 3 games on ESPN, and probably briefly on ESPN2 the start of that Sox battle, and a very busy day of playoff baseball on our family of networks. 10-4, Houston out in front here in the bottom of the 8th in Atlanta. Little blooper toward right, but that'll go foul off to the stands. 2-2.
You know, we look at this Houston Astro team, it is effectively almost all the same players from last year. They lost players off their roster from last year, but nobody else was brought in. They got caught up in some late decisions with Carlos Beltran and everything else. They have their pitching staff back, and they brought up some kids from the minor leagues, but effectively this is the same team that Jerry Hunsaker, the general manager that's not with them anymore, put on the field last year. They've just taken away some of the offensive players, but the pitching is what's carried this team. And Jerry Hunsaker, this is his club out there playing right now.
One hop, skips to Biggio. Plenty of time to get Franco's side retired. The Braves get one more run, but there's still 6 down as we go to the 9th in game 1.
I hope you girls are getting ready for bed. I'll be up there in a few minutes.
Pay 10 bills in under 3 minutes.
Ready or not, here I come.
Free with unlimited online bill pay. Bank of America. Higher standards.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Employers search Monster every day looking for the right candidates. But you can't be found unless you post your resume.
When you need to send someone money in a hurry, Western Union offers you the Gold Card Rewards program. It quickly pulls your information, saving you time and paperwork.
Ah, your brother Scotty.
For every story, Western Union.
You gelling? No telling how much I'm gelling. You gelling? I'm like mud gelling. I'm so gelling. Quit yelling. We're gelling. Right.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
We're about 8 minutes away from baseball in Chicago on ESPN2. David Wells is clutch, 10-3 lifetime in the postseason. He goes for the Red Sox in a near must-win situation against Mark Burley of the White Sox. Again, that game coming up on ESPN2 until they're done in Atlanta.
And we're moving on to the 9th inning with Houston up 10-4. Dave O'Brien, Steve Phillips, Eric Karros, and Tim Kirchin with you. 40,590 on hand at Turner Field. Another Atlanta rookie. Here's the left-hander McKay McBride, who is out of Augusta, Georgia, one of a slew of Georgia natives on Bobby Cox's roster. And a veteran, Jose Vizcaíno, getting in for a pinch hit appearance here to start the 9th inning. And a big frame for the Astros, a 5-run 8th. And they did that on only a handful of hits and a bunch of Atlanta walks, as the Braves pitching staff has walked 9 men today, several of those intentionally. But it started with Tim Hudson, who settled down for a while, but in 6 2/3 innings he had a lot of issues, and he wound up with a pretty wild day as he walked 4, he hit a batter. A 10-4 Houston lead, and everybody smiling in the Astro dugout as they were in game 1 last year when they came to Atlanta and tossed a knockout punch in the first game. 9-3 they won that one, and eventually in the game 5 clincher here in Atlanta they won that 12-3. Rattled to the shortstop for call with a great arm of his and plenty of time to get Vizcaíno 1 out.
Well, you know, in the last 3 seasons, this Atlanta ball club has lost the first game in the division series at home and then lost the 5th game at home as well. And you start to wonder, you know, are these guys aware of it? Does that, you know, because the media constantly brings it up, does it wear on you after a while? And it just, you know, after so many times of being asked it, you just go, God, enough is enough. But it's a reality. The Braves just have not been able to get by the division.
Steve, it's a legitimate question to ask. It's 14 division titles, this being number 14. Previous 13 times, only 1 World Series. We say only 1. But it brings up the question, what does regular season dominance really mean in baseball?
It's a dynasty. Let me tell you, the Atlanta Braves are a dynasty. I understand the postseason and everything else, and I think that they haven't gotten it done there. But what they've done here in Atlanta, it is a dynasty from baseball terms. And I just think that they've done a phenomenal job. But when they haven't gotten the success in the postseason, you've got to try something different. That's why early in the game when Marcus Giles went in for that double, I didn't mind it as much because they can't just do the normal thing here because the normal thing hasn't been enough in the past. And now they're going to be faced, when we talk about for the Red Sox early in the game today, for the Braves, they're going to get asked after the thing, well, here we go again, and you guys going to fall out in this first round again. If they fall behind early tomorrow, they're going to have problems. I think Bobby Cox has to go out tomorrow and try to get on the board early just to take those demons that pop up on their shoulder and start talking to them a little bit so they don't start hearing those voices saying something's not right.
Chipper Jones and company with another spectacular regular season. But how will it end in postseason play as Biggio fouls that one away? Hey, Game 2 of the American League Division Series between the Red Sox and White Sox is currently airing on ESPN2. Again, Game 2 of the Division Series between the Red Sox and White Sox is on right now on ESPN2. For those of you staying with us, we'll update you on anything you miss in that game. We'll get you to Chicago once we're done here at Turner Field. And Biggio is out, 2 down here in the 9th inning for Houston. Well, there is no denying the success here in Atlanta. And the two men who have made it possible for the most part, John Schuerholz and Bobby Cox, I mean, they are both ticketed for Cooperstown in my estimation. They have done an incredible job building this franchise. Isn't it a bit of a crapshoot when you get into the first round of the playoffs? I mean, if you run up against a hot team with a couple of hot pitchers who may not be on the same page with you talent-wise, not saying that's what's happening with the Astros. Sure, that didn't happen last year with the Astros, but that's kind of how the Braves tend to look at it.
Well, you know, that whole notion that, you know what, you get in there and it's a 5-game series, it's not really fair. We can't, you know, who knows who can win in these short series. Somebody could get some remarkable play. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. And if you go into it with the thought that, you know, it's out of our control, we should just play, I think that you're throwing your hands up in the air and you're not approaching it the right way. Yes, you're right. Somebody can step up and some, you know, utility player can get a big hit and it can cost you a chance to go, but you can't approach it that way. You have to approach it like you have control over what can happen in that short series.
I think you're absolutely right. And you know, Bobby Cox has said, though, he favors a 7-game division series. Sure. He doesn't like the 5. You know, the 7 games is more representative of the better club winning, where, you know, as we've mentioned, with a 5-game series, anybody can get hot. You run into one hot pitcher and he can dominate a series.
And so often the wild card team, the Braves have to play the wild card. They've had to play like a house of fire just to get in. They're a hot team coming on into postseason play. Rutledge strikes out. We go to the last of the 9th in Atlanta. A big lead for Houston.
I promise.
I promise.
Chevy promises to keep building most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
I promise to deliver 9 models that start under 20 grand.
I promise fuel economy is just as important to Chevy as it is to you.
Chevy, the #1 selling cars, trucks, and SUVs in America.
I promise that we've lowered prices,
added features,
or redesigned 19 models. I promise to remind you why you got your license in the first place.
That's a Chevy total value promise.
People everywhere are experiencing a breakthrough. Fullness from a value menu.
Please, thank you. I have an announcement. I'm full!
Taco Bell's Big Bell Value Menu, featuring the half-pound beef combo burrito with double the beef. To keep your stomach and your wallet full, think outside the bun.
Movies, music, games, TV. Every day, Verizon Broadband, the world's most advanced network, delivers a fresh edition of the accumulated wit and wisdom of the known universe. It's more than news. It's illuminating.
If there were a store in your town called Peace of Mind, would you pay it a visit? Across America, in towns big and small, there is such a place. New York life. It starts with our values of financial strength, integrity, and humanity, and continues with our agents. So look for us in your town. You may already know our people, and we are confident that peace of mind is why New York life is the company you keep.
A blustery game one here in Atlanta. The blowout inning for Houston was the 5th. I should say the 8th, when they scored 5 times and pile up a 10-4 lead. And the Astros on the verge of clinching game number 1. Now, Division Series game 2 of the Red Sox and the White Sox series is currently airing on ESPN2. When this one ends, it'll be here on ESPN. Jeff Francoeur to lead things off against Russ Springer, coming out of the Houston bullpen as he makes one of many appearances this year, 62 of them for Phil Garner.
Well, Russ Springer's been around for a number of years. Very serviceable pitcher. Good fastball, nice curveball, a guy that can eat up some innings.
Francoeur on the day is 1 for 3 with a bunt single. 10 runs on 11 hits for Houston. 4 runs on 6 hits for Atlanta. The Braves, for the most part, shut down by Andy Pettit in a very strong 7 innings, as he allowed just 4 hits and he struck out 6.
Well, he did throw well, and he was never in any trouble. I mean, the runs he gave up were on home runs, but he never had to wiggle out of, a second and third or a couple guys on base. That's something this Brave offense is going to have to do.
Fly to right lane on the run, won't get it. It's into the alley and up against the fence. Francoeur into second. Now he's heading for third, and he will reach third base with a triple. Jeff Francoeur 2 out of 4 in his very first postseason game. Hey, today's Chevy player of the game is certainly Morgan Ensberg, 3 for 4, and drove in 5 runs today.
Well, and Morgan Ensberg really picked up the slack because they pitched around Lance Berkman all game long, and they put Morgan Ensberg in pressure situations, and he was able to answer each and every call today for this Houston Astro Ball Club.
And in recognition of his outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 donation to the Boys and Girls Club of America on behalf of Morgan Ensberg. Ryan Langerhans stepping in to pinch hit for Bobby Cox, going to his bench a little bit late. Langerhans has for the most part been the hottest Brave in recent days, hitting .367 in the last 22 games.
Eric, I think you're right. I think Bobby Cox getting some at bats, because these guys will be the guys hitting tomorrow against Roger Clemens, and Bobby Cox is saying, look, get some at bats, get a feel for a non-pressure situation, so you're ready for tomorrow.
We've been missed there, and the count 2-1. Langerhans, a 25-year-old rookie left-hand hitter from San Antonio, Texas, looking for a chance to pick up an RBI here late in the bottom of the 9th. He takes down and in. 3-1. The Rocket goes tomorrow against John Smoltz. That game on Fox. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Fly foul, twisting out of play. A pair of game 2s tomorrow as the division series continues. At 4 o'clock on ESPN2, Padres Cardinals. Astacio against Mulder. The Cardinals up 1-0. And at 8 o'clock on Fox, the Astros and the Braves. The Rocket against John Smoltz was kind enough to join us earlier today and says he is really looking forward to it. Swung on and missed for strike 3, and Langerhans strikes out.
How about we go in to visit with Bobby Cox for a little bit before the game today, and one of the first questions he asked us was, what do you hear about Clemens' hamstring? How's Clemens' hamstring over there doing?
What are you guys hearing over there? Is that still barking at him? Can he field a bunt? That should be a dandy.
They didn't really tell us too much about Clemens' hamstring.
There's Johnny Estrada. Looping fly into right. That'll settle down for a base hit. Here comes Francoeur. That'll make it 10-5. So Estrada at the tail end of his day delivering. He's 1 for 4 with an RBI single. And that'll send up another youngster in Kelly Johnson. And here comes the manager Phil Garner out of that dugout. Another pitching change in the 9th inning. So we'll take a break. Division Series Game 1 not done yet, although Houston leads by 5.
Excuse me, what is that?
ING. They're the financial services company that's all about fresh thinking. They're full of new ideas, so you're ready for whatever comes along.
I know about ING.
I want to have a cappuccino.
What's that?
Why can't we have a cappuccino?
Have to go to the car now.
You never have any fun. You never let me do anything fun.
It's a man struggling with his inner child.
You're so mean. A cappuccino, please.
Ask your financial professional about ING.
I write underground comics, and I got my latest idea at work, The Actuary. By day, just a mild-mannered accountant, crunching numbers, deciphering the tax codes, spreadsheets, but at night, a crime-solving mathematician with laser vision. I do it all on my computer, write, draw, and publish online. He may not always get his man, but he always gets the girl.
Start something heroic. Start anything you like with a world of software and devices that run on Windows.
2 outs in the inning. And there's strike 2 on the bomber. What an epic battle we're witnessing. He digs back in. No, wait. What's he doing? The bomber is calling his shot.
I'm all over that.
He's pointing beyond the outfield fence.
Yeah, buddy.
Are we witnessing history? And there it goes!
Bud Light. Great taste. Great times.
What drives a man to such greatness?
Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. Ooh, a hot dog.
Red Sox, White Sox underway on ESPN2. Johnny Damon reached. Edgar Renteria follows with this double. 2nd and 3rd for David Ortiz, who's now up. Ortiz has just struck out. So it's 2nd and 3rd, 1 out for Manny Ramirez on ESPN2.
But don't you just get the feeling that Boomer Wells is going to have a big, big night in that one here? A very big day and evening for the Houston Astros. They have a 10-5 lead. Mike Gallo coming out of the bullpen, a left-hander. Pitched awfully well for Gardner during the season in his 36 appearances.
Well, he's a situational guy, and he's going to come in there, turn Benjamin around and let him hit it from the right side. Bobby Cox has to make his move. Again, this is just a situation where you're getting guys in the game, getting them in the series, because you're going to need them in pressure situations later on down the road.
Wilson Benjamin, one of those guys to hit here. 2 hits in the inning and a run home for the Braves. Frank Corstar with a triple. Estrada just blooped a single to right to bring him in. Benjamin, a fine hitter. It's all a question of where to play him come next year, Steve. What's the answer to that?
Well, he came up as a shortstop. He obviously would say to play him at short, but boy, he's gotten really big. He seems like more of a corner guy right now as a third baseman. Be interesting to see, because if Furcall's not the answer here next year in Atlanta, the question is, do they go with Betterment? Do they go with some other young player, or do they find some other stopgap?
Rafael Furcal, a free agent at season's end, at postseason's end. Little ground ball, that's fair. Glove by Ensberg. Tough play. High throw. Off the glove of Berkman. It rolls into foul territory. Estrada into third and holding there. So Benjamin on with what should be ruled a base hit. Tough play along the third base line for Ensberg. Kind of a do-or-die play.
Well, it is kind of a slow roller. I would have liked to see him be a little more aggressive to the ball, because as he moved to it, he was moving toward the third base dugout, and that's an awfully tough throw with your momentum moving one way. It didn't look like he had a real good grip on it either. When an infielder makes a bad throw, it's mainly because of his feet, and he didn't quite get his feet moving in the right direction.
Well, and it was tough because the third base bag did play a part in it. He couldn't round it, just come down nice and easy. He had to make sure he didn't trip over that third base bag. Then ran himself into a bit of trouble. But now you get into a dangerous situation. You get some runners on. You got that middle of the lineup coming up.
For a call to hitter on the day, 1 for 4. That is ruled a base hit, but also an error allowing the runner to advance to third. First error of the day for either side. Bounding ball. Ensberg handles that foul territory. He was looking for a quick double play there.
Well, Johnny Estrada just can't stand there and wait for the umpire to make a call. You got to do something, either run home or go back to third base. But he was just, well, you know, he stood there. He was an out.
That would have been 2 outs, and the game would have been over. Well, look who is up in the bullpen for Houston. You know they didn't want to have to do this to get Brad Lidge warmed up. But their outstanding closer is starting to loosen. Only one out here as it's trickled foul by Furcal.
You know, Lidge looked like he was throwing a little more than just kind of, you know, getting soft and loose and warmed up a little bit. He looked like there was some aggressiveness in that release. Absolutely not what they wanted to do today.
Of course, when he's just playing soft toss, he throws about 92.
That's true.
But as you said, just even getting him up in the bullpen, he may not get in this game, but the fact that he's up, getting loose, I mean, that is taxing, especially over the course of a season.
And at the very start of what the Astros hope is a long postseason run. They're on at first and third, and it's up high on Furcal. 2-2. One out in the bottom of the ninth. The run in for Atlanta. They've cut the lead to 10-5. The Astros scoring 5 in the 8th to take what looked to be a very secure lead. They made it 10-3 at the time. Slicer foul by Furcal.
Now, right now, Lance Berkman's playing behind Betterman at first base. With one out in this inning, I take second base if they give it to me. Why not? Why not get yourself out of a double play situation and try to extend this game to get to the middle of the lineup? Berkman's playing behind. Take the bag if they're giving it to you. Stay out of the double play.
Holding at first, a swing and a foul back by Furcal. He is up there hacking. Betterman at first. Francoeur started this inning with a triple and then raced in on the Estrada single to right field. Betterman followed with a pinch hit single. Line wickedly but foul. Some pretty good hacks here by Furcal in the ninth.
But one thing about this Atlanta Brave ball club, they're not laying down at all. You know, they're continuing to have good at-bats. You know, arguably maybe even better at-bats in these last 2 innings than they've had all game long.
Well, this is the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up here for Rafael Furcal in a 10-5 game. He's making Gallo work. And the southpaw will step off here.
So, you know, Eric, I think that's a good point. I mean, there's something to be said for non-pressure at-bats, to be able to just, in a playoff game, get an at-bat, get a comfort level, and where it may not result in a win today, it sure makes you a lot more comfortable tomorrow when the game starts.
He continues to fight, and it's starting to have the feel of the 9th inning yesterday, game 1 between St. Louis and San Diego.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know, getting back to what you were saying, Steve, about, you know, the decisions that are made and, you know, fighting to the very end. And it's not just about today's ball game. It's about a series. And you can manage yourselves into problems for games 2, 3, and 4 by decisions that you make right now. And you can also put yourself in situations to succeed. So, you know, when you put these guys up, you have them battle. When you've got Brad Lidge up in the bullpen, all these things will have an impact throughout the series.
The Red Sox have taken a 2-0 lead over the White Sox. We'll show you that action in a moment. Outside on Furcal, a heck of an at-bat. No matter what happens, this has been the best AB for either team today.
There's no doubt. I think your point's good. I mean, there's victories, then there are other victories, and it is an absolute victory for the Braves to have gotten this deep into the Astros bullpen and to get Brad Lidge warming up out there.
Chopper, Vizcaíno, the second one on the first. Double play. He held the bag, and that will do it. The Astros have taken game 1 by a final score of 10-5. So for the second year in a row, the Astros, the wild card champs, come to Atlanta and beat up on the Braves to take the first game in the series.
Well, this series certainly isn't over after game 1. The Astros got off to the kind of start they wanted, got out in front early, very good starting pitching. It's going to be a great matchup the rest of the way.
Well, in the Atlanta Braves, they can say, hey, look, we didn't play as well as we would have liked. We've got a pitching performance that wasn't the norm for Tim Hudson. They have a lot of positive things to draw from this ball game.
Stay tuned. Up next, Red Sox, White Sox. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Eric Karros, Steve Phillips, Tim Kirkshin, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Dave O'Brien, thanking you for joining us this afternoon and tonight from Atlanta. Now, we throw it to Chicago. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, and Mike Piazza with the call.
And we'd like to welcome those of you that have